Next on America's Day at the Races, he is undefeated and moving up the Kentucky Derby watch list. Can Independence Hall remain in the Derby hunt with a victory in the Sam F. Davis from Tampa Bay? Multiple Grade 1 winner Got Stormy set a new course record when she beat the boys at Saratoga. The Breeders' Cup Mile runner-up makes her 5-year-old debut in the Grade 3 Endeavour, and she will be a short price. And 3-year-old fillies are on the road to the Kentucky Oaks Venetian Harbor. Could she stamp herself as a leading contender as she stretches out in distance with an impressive performance in the Las Virgenes? It is all coming up on today's action from all across the country, and it's brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. I'm Greg Wolf. Great to be with you for our first show of 2020. What a strange and wild ride we had in last year's Triple Crown, and we are ready to go down that road one more time, take you all the way up to that first Saturday in May. A lot of great action today. We'll have a Kentucky Derby prep from Tampa Bay. We have a Kentucky Oaks prep from here in Southern California in the Las Virgenes, and Got Stormy again, who beat the boys at historic Saratoga, runner-up in the Breeders' Cup Mile, back in action today as well. I'm joined in studio by Hall of Famer, 2-time winner of the Kentucky Oaks, 3-time winner of the Kentucky Derby, Gary Stevens, Santa Anita racing analyst Michelle Yu, and very excited to get these preps going again as we get set for that first Friday and Saturday in May.
Yeah, it's that time of year, and I'm looking forward to Independence Hall later on this afternoon, and I think he's got to mature a little bit. His rider, Jose Ortiz, has got to know him. He's ridden him twice now. He's a little bit unpredictable. He broke slow last time out, and he kind of creates his own problems. He gets out of trouble quick.
Well, the good news about it is he's still winning races, right? So he can only go upwards from here, I feel like. And I'm really excited to see Venetian Harbor. She was so impressive when she broke her maiden here by over 10. And stepping up in a stakes company, you know, we have seen a lot of great fillies, as you know, Gary, come out of Santa Anita.
Well, Independence Hall, he will be in the Sam F. Davis, Grade 3, of course, points on the line, 10 points going to the first place finisher to get into that starting gate for the Kentucky Derby. He's had some problems in the paddock and also getting out of the gate, which we saw in the Jerome, Gary.
Yeah, he hopped at the start here. He didn't get away good at all, and when I said he gets out of trouble quick, he really does get out of trouble. Look at this move right here, Michelle. He gets right back in contention after this hop at the start, and Jose takes his time with him. He's got speed. He gets there quick, and he wants to wander around a little bit when he heads down the stretch.
He definitely does. You can see him come really wide right here, and he's going to shy a little bit in, a little bit out from his urging. And he's done both of these things in prior races. On his career debut, he didn't break, and then the next time out, he was all over the place. But even though he did both of those things in this race, Gary, not only did he put it together for the win, but he also did improve. I mean, he's shying less, and the break from the gate was him turning his head in the gate. It wasn't that he broke slow like he did on his debut.
Well, he also threw a fit in the paddock while he was being saddled at Aqueduct before the start of that race. Michael Trombetta said he has schooled him multiple times since, and he has not turned a hair. He's won his 3 starts so far by a combined 21 lengths. He is no question the horse to beat. As we go live to Oldsmar, Florida, check in with Lafitte Pinkai for more.
What's going on, Greg? Yeah, festival preview day here at Tampa Bay Downs. A picture-perfect afternoon for thoroughbred racing. Temperature in the mid-70s. Main track is fast. Turf course is firm. You guys were talking about the main event, the Sam Davis, Independence Hall. Greg, you are absolutely right. He is brilliantly talented, but temperamental. We will hear from his trainer, Mike Trombetta. Another trainer to keep your eyes on, Mark Casse, coming off of a breakout 2019. Of course, he took down 2/3 of the Triple Crown, winning the Preakness with War of Will, winning the Belmont Stakes with Sir Winston. He does not have a 3-year-old Casse in the Sam Davis, but he is loaded on the undercard. 260 in the Suncoast. March to the Arch in the Tampa Bay Stakes. And in less than an hour, the big mare, Got Stormy, the Eclipse Award finalist, taking center stage in her 5-year-old debut coming up in the Endeavour. Mark Casse is not here, though, this afternoon, Greg. He has a flu, not feeling well. I'm guessing a win in a stakes race or two will have him feeling that much better.
Nothing like a stakes victory, to get over a little bit of the flu. We hope that's the case for Mark Casse, wishing him the best. Hopefully he's watching the program. But a lot of tremendous action here coming up today. Let's take a look at the remaining races that we have for you. You're going to be all over the country. People stationed all across the country bringing you this action as well, including racing from here in Southern California. And that's that Kentucky Oaks prep in the Las Virgenes. We're going to check in with Andy Serling, New York Racing Association handicapper, in just a moment. Out at Aqueduct for the Jimmy Winkfield, the feature race. Conditions good on the main track there. Oaklawn Races 3 through 9 ahead. We'll have Whitmore back in action. Could he make a 4th Breeders' Cup Sprint? The old veteran back in action again. Naira Bets, of course, presenting our track conditions. Bet anytime, anywhere with Naira Bets. The promo code to get signed up and started is Big A. And for more on today's action in South Ozone Park, let's go to Andy Serling.
Thanks, Greg, and I'm looking forward to seeing you here in the comfy confines of Aqueduct next week. Nice to be Lafitte Pinkai as well, lollygagging around, open-collared. He's prepping to be working with Jonathan Kinchin a little bit later down at Tampa Bay, but we're at Aqueduct, and it's an interesting feature, the Jimmy Winkfield, coming up, and quite a few contenders in this race. I legitimately think that 4 or 5 of the horses in the 7-horse field can win. Now I'm going to take a look at Montauk Traffic, a third-time starter for Linda Rice. And last week we saw Linda Rice win our prep for the Kentucky Derby, the Withers, with a third-time starter coming off a maiden victory. And while it wasn't quite the traffic you see going out to Hamptons, Montauk Traffic found himself behind horses coming the top of the stretch and dove down to the rail. And the rail was absolutely not the place to be that day at Aqueduct, but it didn't bother Montauk Traffic at all, and he blasted off to victory. A very impressive win. And when you see Linda Rice get aggressive with her horses, as she did last weekend, and she's doing today with Montauk Traffic, going right to a stake race out of a maiden race, it's probably a very good sign. Now, I don't know if Montauk Traffic, how much I love him if he's 5-2. I was hoping for a better price, but maybe I won't get it because he was that impressive, Greg, breaking his maiden.
No question, Andy. Another horse who didn't break all that well, but powered away to a very impressive performance was actually, Linda Rice was thinking Withers with this horse. Decided to go here and said she wound up winning the Withers anyway with Max Player.
Yeah, and Max Player was a very impressive winner that day with young Dylan Davis on the rise back there. He's teaming up with Linda Rice a lot and got a horse that's got a huge future, I think.
I think this race looks so interesting on paper. There's some really good horses here. I'm excited for it.
Montauk Traffic, though, will be the one to beat for Linda Rice. Jose Lezcano will be aboard. 5-2 morning line favorite. Our action today brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. We're going to head to Hot Springs, Arkansas. Check in with Nancy Holthus for more from Oaklawn.
Thanks so much, guys. Well, you know, we like to say the sun always shines at Oaklawn. It was a little chilly and rainy the first couple of days of the meet, but it's glorious today. Fans have come out to see the return of Whitmore, but there's going to be a particular important person in his camp that is not here today, and that is his trainer, Ron Moquette, but he's got other big plans. His son, Chance, is getting married in Florida. And Ron has said earlier that it's like his 2 kids are playing at different ball fields. So we would congratulate his son Chance on his upcoming nuptials, but there might be a cell phone or 2 that might be going off during this ceremony. But nonetheless, a great card here today in Hot Springs, and the sun's still shining. So a great group out for the races here in Hot Springs. Guys.
Nancy, thank you. We're all excited to see Whitmore, who actually was on the Derby Trail as a 3-year-old, ran in the Kentucky Derby, and after that didn't go his way, found a career sprinting. It's turned out pretty good for him. Third race is coming up next at Oaklawn. It is a starter allowance at 6 furlongs. You take a look at the current odds there. The Red Dude, current favorite for Robertino Diodoro, 28%. At the meet. We're going to take a break in the action. Just getting started here on America's Day at the Races. When we return, Joe Talamo recently won his 2,000th career race. He's left the sunshine of California behind to ride full-time at Oaklawn. More on young Joe Talamo when we come back. Stay with us.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm. No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code Big A at NairaBets.com.
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 4 millionaires, including Claiborne Farm stallion Lee. Recent top runners include Cutting Humor, winner of the Grade 3 Sunland Park Derby, Grade 2 winner Sharp Samurai, international star Shamal Nibras, graded stakes performers Uncapped and Sweet Sammy B, and Bal Harbor, runner-up in the Grade 1 Woodward Stakes. His 2-year-olds have brought prices up to $310,000. First, Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races here on Fox Sports 2, and a beautiful day in Hot Springs, Arkansas at Oaklawn. We're going to bring you the King Cotton later on this afternoon, and multi-millionaire Whitmore back in action. First, though, it is the third, a 6-furlong sprint, starter allowance, and we're going to check in live with Nancy Holthus.
Thanks so much, Greg. Now, this is a very competitive starter allowance, and I'm going to go with part of the entry from the Ingrid Masonburn. She has just had some amazing winners here thus far this meet. Part of the entry that I'm referring to is Nuclear Option, Jermaine Bridgmahan in the irons. I think she specifically points this horse towards this meet. If you take a look at that last start, it was a disappointing effort at Keeneland, and if you look at this, one of this horse's particular wins, it came out of a race last year at Churchill and won a very impressive starter allowance here at Oaklawn. This kind of the same scenario for Nuclear Option, a really good price right now at 7-2. Now, one person who is already lit up the board with wins is trainer Robertino Diodoro. He won 3 on Thursday, 3 on Friday. He sends out the Red Dude in here. Now, if you take a look, he's coming off a disappointing effort at Delta. We've seen a lot of his horses come up here and really transition well from that bull ring to this surface here at Oaklawn Park. But Battle Station, the number 8, coming from kind of an underrated trainer, in my opinion, that Cipriano Contreras, Walter de la Cruz in the irons, comes out of a key race, took on allowance optional claimers, and then faced tough sprinters like Gordy Florida, Gray Attempt, Nero, and winner of that field was Silver Ride, who returns in today's King Cotton, and that was on opening day here to run a very good 4th in the mud. Does get a fast track today, maybe not getting the respect that he should, as he's 6-1. You might be getting a bargain here, guys.
Nancy, thank you. Yeah, this entry looks doubly tough. They're both 8-time winners, but back to Nuclear Option, who Nancy's going to go with in here. Coming off a 3-month layoff, this horse has won on turf, on synthetic, on dirt, on a sloppy track. It seems like he can really do anything.
Yeah, he's a hard knock in Old Gilding. He's won 8 of his 28 races and hit the board 12 or 16 of his starts. So he's an old pro. You get horses like this, they love to win races. Doesn't matter what kind of surface they're on. And he's won 3 races on this surface at Oaklawn Park.
I think that's the key right there. I always look for when horses come into different racetracks that they're shipping in, how successful have they been previously, and this horse loves Oaklawn. He's had 8 starts, 3 wins, and 3 third-place finishes. I prefer him in the pair of the entry as well.
And he's quick. He has great speed in here. His 7 Nation Army, the main one, maybe to put some pressure on him early.
I mean, his stablemate presses the pace too, generally going longer, but, you know, 2 were races back at Churchill going 6.5. He was right up on the lead in a compact field.
3-1 on Robertino Diodoro's The Red Dude. Second off a 9-month layoff, but the entry looks doubly tough in here for Ingrid Mason. Let's go to Vic Stauffer for the call. Race 3 from Oaklawn here on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2.
They're at the post. They're off. One in the middle stumbled pretty badly. I think it was Nuclear Option who stumbled, but he's still quick enough to make the lead from Awesome Anywhere and 7 Nation Army. Then comes Touching Rainbows, followed by The Red Dude, and to the outside, comes Battle Station. There are 3 that are out sprinted. They are Top Brass, Touch of Chili Pepper, and Hunk of Burning Love. Nuclear Option and Awesome Anywhere into the far turn. Awesome Anywhere puts his head in front. Nuclear Option is now back to second, and now Awesome Anywhere leads by a length. Nuclear Option is second, just ahead to Seven Nation Army, who's about to move into second, and here's Seven Nation Army to make a blitz towards the front. 2 lengths further back to Touching Rainbows. Then comes Battle Station. The red dude has a long way to come. He's 5 off the lead. Awesome Anywhere off the top of the turn with a nice lead. Awesome Anywhere leads by 2 lengths to Seven Nation Army in second. Touching Rainbows just took second, and now he's trying to run down Awesome Anywhere. Awesome Anywhere to the 16th, a 2-length lead. Touching Rainbows is getting closer. Awesome Anywhere a half length. Touching Rainbows trying to get him. Touching Rainbows in time. Touching Rainbows beat Awesome Anywhere. Seven Nation Army was third, close for fourth. The red dude and Battle Station.
Touching Rainbows in the end, up in time to get by Awesome Anywhere, who would put away Nuclear Option. It was the 1 and the 4 early on in a speed duel, and Touching Rainbows, the big long shot, gets the win in the end.
Yeah, it looked like the 4-horse Awesome Anywhere was long gone here at the 8th pole. This stretch, for whatever reason, it plays a lot longer than most of the racetracks. At least it does when you're riding the racetrack. It's a lengthy stretch. They can get weary. They have 2 finish lines there. Don't forget that. In the mile races, they run to that first finish line, which they just passed, and got another 16th of a mile, and there's plenty of room to do what Touching Rainbows just did.
Wins at 12-1. Well, the prices from that one coming up in just a moment as we shift gears and head to New York, where, again, the Jimmy Winkfield, the feature race later on this afternoon. That will be in the 8th. Right now it is race 6. Start of their late pick 4, 6.5 furlongs. New York breds, $25,000 claiming race. Thesis, current favorite at 3-1 on the board for trainer Jason Service. He wins a lot of races all across the country, but especially in New York. We're going to take a break. When we return, got Stormy back in action in the Endeavour. Stay with us.
Go from Railbird to Winner's Circle. With My Racehorse, you have access to top horses and trainers, backside tours, exclusive ownership experiences, and fast payouts to your online account. With shares starting as little as $100, the Winner's Circle is waiting for you. Go to myracehorse.com or download the My Racehorse app today to join the thousands who have already started their journey as a racehorse owner.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Smiling Tigers Championship sire performance continues. Each of his first 3 crops has produced a Horse of the Year, including California Horse of the Year Spiced Perfection and 2019 champion 2-year-old male El Tigre Terrible. 14 6-figure earners, including 7 with single-season earnings surpassing $100,000 in 2019. California's #1 second crop sire in 2018 and now #1 third crop sire of 2019. Smiling Tiger, standing at Harris Farms. Visit SmilingTigerStallion.com for more information. It pays to be Calbred.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
We're back on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2, our first show of 2020. Great to have you with us, and a live look at Aqueduct as we get set for race 6 here. Again, a state-bred $25,000 claiming race. Sprint at 6.5 furlongs coming up. And here's our post-parade as we start with H-Man for trainer Orlando Noda.
It's an 8-year-old son of Musket Man here taking the class drop down. Last time he raced against this kind of company, he was a winner.
Sudden surprise, very quick for Rudy Rodriguez.
First time for Rudy Rodriguez. Claimed him back on December 5th.
Blue belt. Eddie Barker sends this one out.
It's been a while since I got this picture taken and drew the rail last time. He gets off it today. New jockey aboard.
To the 5 Summer Bourbon, Junior Alvarado for Rudy Rodriguez as well.
And first off the claim here for Rudy Rodriguez, who's 16% from that angle.
To the 8, that is Thesis, and our current favorite at 5-2.
And going to be forwardly placed for Jason's service here.
And Mo Diddley on the outside, trained by Bruce Brown, comes in off a win.
I also think this horse will be forwardly placed, especially with this nice favorable draw to the outside.
And Stonebreaker, the 7 we did not see. Here's Stonebreaker for Linda Rice, comes in from Finger Lakes.
And I like this horse in here, Greg, taking the class drop down in for the $25,000 tag for a horse that has 3 wins and 5 lifetime outs.
Was beat at 1-5 at Finger Lakes back in early November. As we head to Aqueduct and check in again with New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling.
Looking forward to the late pick 4 kicking off here with our 6th race. And I don't disagree with the public who eventually are making now the number 8 Thesis the favorite in here. He is the horse to beat. He was over his head last time. He's simply not as good as the horses he raced against. And he didn't even run that badly in finishing 4th. He's a fairly consistent type. He's not any sort of layover type. He comes from a strong barn. His effort 2 back when he got placed first, he really did run well because that was a race where the pace very much held together, and he did well to close from back of the pack. He also got a great ride by Rat Ortiz that day. He is a horse that finishes second far more often than he finishes first, but still, Thesis is a very logical horse. I'm going to try to beat him, though, with the number 5, Summer Bourbon. Summer Bourbon is off the claim for Rudy Rodriguez, and I'll forgive him his poor effort in the slop last time out. He ran a huge race 2 races back. If he can get back to that race 2 back, I think will be the winner of this race. He's also a horse that can be somewhat forwardly placed, and while all of the 2, 7, and 9 have speed, I thought he could sit a good trip behind them and gets a strong rider change to Junior Alvarado, who's been riding extremely well here at Aqueduct, a reclaim for trainer Rudy Rodriguez. An interesting horse to talk about in this race, though, is the number 7, Stonebreaker. Linda Rice gets this runner who last year ran for Gary Gullo. Now, he was running races last year that would make him very tough to beat in here, but he wouldn't have been in a race like this last year because he wouldn't have been in for $25,000. He had a long layoff. He came back off that layoff and ran poorly at a short price at Finger Lakes, and now they drop him down. Now, they do drop him to a level very similar to where he made his career debut. So he has run in claiming races before, but it's hard to be overconfident off his last race and then this drop down. But he does have races, guys, that are good enough to win here.
Andy, thank you. Yeah, intriguing runner, Stonebreaker, the 7. As you take a look at the Empire 6, mandatory payout in the Empire 6 tomorrow on Sunday afternoon. Go to NYRA.com/Empire6. Get involved, and good luck to everyone. Those mandatory payout days, those are the days that you got to be involved. But back to Stonebreaker for a moment. This horse had been really good, on a roll, reeled off 3 consecutive victories. And was it just the layoff, you think, for the disappointing performance last start?
You know, I don't know. He's been very consistent. You know, he did get beat last time, but he finished 3rd. He hasn't been off the board in his 5 starts. He's got 3 wins out of those 5 starts. Lightly raced, and I'd look for him to jump back in form today.
Remember, too, that was his first start against older horses as he just turned 4, so he's no longer restricted to straight 3-year-olds. Also, you take into consideration the fact that they wanted to protect him, right, coming in off of that layoff. So they put him in this conditioned allowance race, and it was just maybe too tough. I love what they're doing here and putting him in for the tag. He's out of condition, so you know you have to kind of pick and choose your places of where you're going to run him. And if they knew that he needed a race, that was probably a good spot to do it and be able to protect him, because you didn't want to lose him first time out if you knew he was going to need an out under his belt.
Manny Franco will be aboard this afternoon as you see Blue Belt getting the attention of almost everybody in the starting gate crew to try and help this 6-year-old in the gate. Son of Bluegrass Cat has gone through this many times before, but being a little stubborn right now.
Yeah, and once they start doing that, they get it becomes a game to them. Let's give these guys a little bit. They know them. They know they're prepared. The assistant starters are. They know these horses' backgrounds, and once they do it, they're prepared for it.
It appears to me, Greg, this horse doesn't like to be inside horses either, and he does have a new rider today, so we have to pay attention to that.
Thesis, the 8th, the one to beat. Let's send it out to long time Employee and now voice of New York Racing, John Imbrial, with the call from Aqueduct.
And they're off. Sudden Surprise goes out for the lead. And then it's Mo Diddley on the outside racing in second. Summer Bourbon and Blue Belt are right together, third and fourth. H-Man is down at the rail. Then it's the two grays, Thesis and Stonebreaker, as they race up the backstretch. Long shot, Sudden Surprise in front here by 3/4 of a length. Summer Bourbon and Mo Diddley are right together, second and third. And then we come back to the rail, and H-Man gaining ground on the outside, Thesis and Stonebreaker. And alongside is Blue Belt after a quarter in 23 and 2/5 seconds. They begin the run around the far turn. Sudden Surprise by a neck. Summer Bourbon in between horses in second. Mo Diddley in the clear on the outside in third. Then it's Blue Belt, who's down towards the rail in fourth. Followed by Thesis. Stonebreaker is being asked for more, not responding right now. H-Man is the trailer, the half in 47 and 1 as the field enters the stretch. It's still Sudden Surprise. Here's Summer Bourbon now up on the outside to challenge. Summer Bourbon takes over. Sudden Surprise is back running in second. Down at the rail is Blue Belt in third. Then Thesis and Mo Diddley. It's Summer Bourbon who extends the lead as he comes for the finish. Summer Bourbon won by almost 4. And a photo for second between Thesis and Sudden Surprise.
Looks like Rudy Rodriguez just missed a 1-2 exacta here in this spot. Here his long shot looked like was going to pull off the upset. Sudden Surprise in the end. It's Summer Bourbon off the claim for the Rodriguez barn.
Yeah, and set a perfect trip back there under Junior Alvarado, lane just off at the pace. And ran him down late. 7-year-old hard-knocking gelding, and that's his 8th career win here as you see him making this move inside the 3/16 pole.
Like Andy alluded to, Greg, you saw 2 starts back. He was a 9-length winner against 12-5 condition or open claimers. This was a step up for him, but he got state breds, and this is duplicating that effort, looking really good and strong here late.
This horse has been against this level of competition several times very recently and had been no match for this type of group. Today, a completely different story.
I completely agree. When Andy said he liked this horse and he had to go back to that 12-5, I was thinking, but the 12-5 race, I mean, he's in 25 now and he has not been able to be good at this level, so huge turnaround for him here.
One other thing, this horse, he's been in Rudy's hands before. He likes this old gelding, and he claimed him back. This horse has been very popular at the claim box, but Rudy's claimed him back on 3 separate occasions now.
There's definitely something to that, going back to familiar confines in the hands of someone who's been good with you before, and it looks like Rudy Rodriguez, magic touch with Summer Bourbon at 5-1. The New York Racing Association lost a beloved member of their family earlier this week. With more, we go to New York and Andy Serling.
Thanks, Greg. It was a tough week for us in New York as longtime horseman and NYRA employee and great friend to racing and great friend to many of us in racing. Bruce Johnstone died this week on Thursday after a long illness. He battled cancer valiantly for a long time. Bruce has been around and noticeable for many, many years. A terrific horseman in his own right. You see him winning our Bayshore back in 1986. He worked with the Phipps barn. He worked for Lefty Nickerson, but he also worked with us for 13 years, and it's a hole we can never fill. You can only fill those holes with memories, and there are a lot of great memories of Bruce who you can't think of a person that you would more like to emulate in life. We'll miss Bruce forever. Bruce Johnstone passed away this week at 76.
Catholic Boy, one of only 3 American 3-year-old colts in history to win Grade 1s on both dirt and turf, including the immortal Secretariat. A graded stakes winner at 2, 3, and 4, from coast to coast, from 7.5 furlongs to 1.25 miles. In 2018, the fastest 3-year-old in the country over 10 furlongs by internationally successful sire More Than Ready. Catholic Boy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and NYRA Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With NYRA Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the NYRA Bets app or visit NYRABets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code BIG A at NYRABets.com.
Went
like best about Run Happy the sire, he showed so much brilliance to win the grade ones that he won, different racetracks, and he was competing against the best horses that made it look easy. When I first heard about the bonus, I thought it was good for everybody, buyer or seller, gets everybody on the same page, that there's a lot of enthusiasm with the horse already, and I think that just helps add to it. I think these Run Happies, the public already wants to like them. That's a great thing, and I think that's put a little icing on the cake for the whole deal.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races, our program brought to you in part by the champion sprinter, Run Happy. Raced medication-free his entire career, now stands out a legendary stall number 1 at Claiborne Farm for $25,000. Greg Wolf, Gary Stevens, Michelle Yu, and the rest of our crew on hand for you for our first show of 2020. Summer Bourbon getting the win at the Big A. Junior Alvarado, Rudy Rodriguez off the claim, owns his horse in part as well. 7-year-old son of Ghost Zapper, getting by his stablemates and getting the 8th win of his career, kicking off 2020 on a positive note in here. And Rudy does lose that nod there for the exacted Thesis, who was favored, who just gets up for second. So 5, 8, 2, and 9 for your superfectas. We set up race 7 at Aqueduct. Entry-level allowance coming up at 3/4 of a mile. And Blind Willie McTell, this horse doing back to really what he does best, sprinting. They tried him going longer a couple of occasions, but as a sprinter, that's where he's been very effective. 2-1 on Blind Willie McTell for Linda Rice, and Dylan Davis will be on board. We're taking you down the road to the Triple Crown with a prep in the Sam F. Davis out at Tampa Bay a little bit later on this afternoon. And then next week, our coverage continues on the Derby Trail. Things get a lot more serious. 50 points on the line to the winner of the Risen Star. We will have live on-site coverage from the fairgrounds out in New Orleans with the Risen Star. And that was a race that last year, War of Will would win that race, and of course went on to win the Preakness Stakes.
Yeah, it's the biggest, really, as far as points go, prep race for the Kentucky Derby right now. Draws some horses that, you know, are obviously going to be top contenders in the Kentucky Derby.
Let's take a look at our Kentucky Derby prep races ahead. And, you know, it seems like we're a long way away. It comes at you fast in here as we get to 50 points next week, and then as we get later into March, Michelle, we get some 100-point races, but a lot of these races you're going to see here on our show.
It makes it fun, Greg, because you have so many stepping stones leading up to, you know, the marquee races that each track has. So I think it's interesting to see not only the horses that we can watch progress along, but also those new ones that jump onto the trail by, you know, stepping up and winning big races as well.
Here's a look at our current Kentucky Derby leaderboard, and second on that list is Tis the Law. Funny Side 2.0, perhaps, from the same connections who brought you that Kentucky Derby and Preakness winner, Saratoga Stable, Barkley Tag, and after he disappointed in the slop in the Kentucky Jockey Club, in the Holy Bull, he got back to being the horse that we thought he would be, and he showed us in the Champagne as you take a look at the rest of that Kentucky Derby leaderboard. But for Tis the Law and Saratoga Stable, that Holy Bull, very impressive, and it looks like this horse is going to be a serious contender along the road to the Triple Crown. He had a little bit of trouble in this race as well.
Yes, he did, as he did in the race at Churchill Downs. Forget about the slop that day. He was up in a spot, never had anywhere to run. And you're going to see this move here, and a lot of people have criticized Junior Alvarado for what he did here, taking the horse back, getting him on the outside. But he had specific instructions from his trainer, Barkley Tag. Whatever you do, get him to the outside. Most horses you can't take back like that and get back in the race, and he did it willingly,
I
Michelle.
can't think of a horse, Gary, that someone has done that and just maneuvered them outside and then the horse just went on it. It's so hard. People think that horses can be push button and they just go, and this horse did that visibly, but a lot of horses, you take that much out of them and you check them and pull them back around. They're not going to be able to refire at that same speed.
Now, this colt, he's got a ton of talent. Looking forward to seeing what he does next. The one thing about going wide, there's going to be 20 horses in the Kentucky Derby. Try and go around 20 horses. Maybe he's that good. I don't know.
But that gives you a lot of confidence in a horse like this, as Michelle was saying. that may happen in a big race like that full of different runners, that he has the ability to kind of stop and start and find that stride again.
If you've got an off-the-pace type horse in the Kentucky Derby, that's exactly what you need. A horse that you can turn on and off like a light switch, and that's what I saw him do extra special. I've never been able to take a horse back that hard, that fast, and have him recover from it. Might run on and be second or third, but most of the time a young horse, you'll completely discourage him. He's got no discouragement in him. He loves the game.
That's a rip up your ticket situation when you're watching that race and you see that horse check and you think, oh, well, he's had it and we'll have to watch the next race. And the way he was able to accelerate and then finish up down the lane, I was so impressed.
And this was a horse just second start of his career. He'd beat a horse named Greenlight Go, who was really all the rage at that time, and who was more seasoned than him in that Champagne. It looks like he's going to be a serious contender all the way along the road to the Triple Crown. 'Tis the Law, impressive in that Holy Bull. We're going to get back to Oaklawn right now in Hot Springs, Arkansas, their 4th race. Coming up next, a $25,000 maiden claiming sprint at 3/4 of a mile, trained by D. Wayne Lucas. And Joe Talamo will be aboard at 2-1, our current favorite. Let's go live to the track and Nancy Holthus with more on young Joe Talamo.
Now, Joe, tell us what was the ultimate deciding factor in deciding to not only uproot you from Southern California here to Oaklawn, but your entire family?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a big decision, but at the same time, it was kind of an exciting decision. Just something new. Just looking for more opportunities. You know, over the last year or two, I just wasn't riding as much as you know, that I was kind of accustomed to over the years. And I've always shipped in and out of Oaklawn a few times. I've always loved riding here, so I just wanted to give it a try.
What were some of your first impressions of Oaklawn?
I absolutely love it. Not only the racetrack, which is first class, but just the town and community. I mean, they really seem to. It seems wherever you go, they know right away whether you're a jockey or a trainer, and they just seem to kind of bring you in with that Southern hospitality. So that's what's pretty remarkable about it.
Now, you ride Whitmore in the King Cotton. He's a true horse for the course, but Ron Moquette is not here today. What instructions did he give you prior to his departure? And you get to ride a pretty classy horse in the feature.
He is. He's a definition of a racehorse. And actually, I talked to Ron for about 20, 30 minutes yesterday about him, and he just kind of told me a little bit about him. Sometimes when he loads, he actually showed me a picture at Saratoga where he kind of tried to double barrel the starter in the back there. So he said just to watch that. But he said other than that, he's one of those horses. The harder you ride, he gives it to you. And watching his replays, I mean, whether he wins or loses, I mean, he seems to lay it down that last eighth of a mile. So that's always fun to ride horses like that.
Guys, Joe Talamo, a fantastic new addition to Oaklawn.
Nancy, thank you. Well, we mentioned earlier he's already won over 2,000 races in his career. Talented young jockey who's ridden here in Southern California for a long, long time, Gary. How difficult is that, though, to make a switch to a new circuit? Well,
for Joe Talamo, it's not that difficult to make that switch, that transition. Everybody knows who Joe Talamo is from the time he was an Eclipse Award-winning apprentice. So he went there with a reputation. He's young, he works hard, and I think that's 90% of making that transition is letting the people know that your work ethic is good, that you're going to be out there every day doing what they need you to do. He loves riding a lot of races every day. He's not afraid of that work. And as he said, the Southern hospitality back there, he'll fit right in because he is a gentleman.
And Greg, it wasn't just, going in blindly. Obviously, you talk to people before you end up moving your tack. And when Joe was a younger rider, right before he became an actual jockey and he was working horses, Brad Cox was an assistant trainer for a lot of the guys Joe was riding for. So he went in with kind of the notion that Brad would give him some rides, and he has been delivering on that promise as well. So I think they went out there with a really big barn behind them in their pocket as well.
Yeah, he's the type of guy. He's riding for all the heavy heads back there at Oaklawn. And when you go to a new place, that's the important thing, is who you're going to ride for. So you hit the nail on the head there with Brad Cox.
Oh, he's going to have a pretty good mount later on this afternoon. Multi-millionaire Whitmore. That'll be in race 8 in the King Cotton, a horse who 3 times prior in his career has been to the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Now is a 7-year-old getting set for his 7-year-old debut coming up for that Moquette barn. We're going to have the 4th from Oaklawn for you. When we come back, you're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. And there is Joe Talamo on Foreign Exchange. Big drop in class for this 3-year-old filly. By congrats for D. Wayne Lucas.
Coming on strong.
Minute to stardom. On top, coming down to the final 16th, opening up a 2-length lead.
Feel my love for you.
Wild About Star, shining big here in very one.
Oh, why did I wrong?
Testing 1-2. The star guitar filly leads Champagne Diva close to home. It's testing 1-2.
Feel my love for you. Coming on strong.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races, Greg Wolf, Gary Stevens, Michelle Yu. We have Nancy Holthus live in Hot Springs, Arkansas. We're getting set for this 4th race here coming up. They're going to load here momentarily. Currently the favorite, the mount of Joe Talamo. He'll ride for D. Wayne Lucas in here, and this is a filly dropping out of maiden special weight for the very first time.
You know what? I spent 2018 at Oaklawn Park, and Wayne was dropping a lot of horses at the time there from maiden special in moves exactly like this, 3-year-old fillies. And I got to be honest with you, they were running off the TV screen. Everybody looks, what's Wayne Lucas doing, dropping this horse in for 25. Look at the purse money they're running for day in and day out. That's why he's running for 25. If they can't win maiden special, you got to move on. If you lose them, you try and win, get the purse money, and he's got Joe Talamo.
The thing is, if you kind of try to eke them down the class ladder, and you go maiden special weight to say maiden 75,000 and they don't win, then you go maiden 50,000 and they don't win. By that time, you know, you've gone through a lot of time and energy. And if you just think this is going to be a good spot, you go ahead and put them in for the 25. Like Gary says, you collect all the purse money, maybe gets claimed on the way out, and now you've cleared yourself a nice chunk of change.
Foreign Exchange will have the rail with Joe Talamo, the favorite for the 4th at Oaklawn. Let's go to Vic Stofford for the call here on America's Day at the Races.
And where's Mom? They're at the post. They're off. Foreign Exchange shows speed. Minji's in the firing line. In the center of the racetrack, there goes Lil Feathered Indian, and Lil Feathered Indian and Minji will clear off. Mimi's Awesome between horses in 3rd. Then comes Where's Mom and Dehydration. Foreign Exchange is at the rail. Then Lil H and Congrats Girl, 2 lengths further back to Unlawful Assembly, and House Drunken between horses. It's God's Gift. So up the backstretch and into the far turn, Minji is just in front of Mimi's Awesome and Lil Feathered Indian. Minji a half length in front. Foreign Exchange is traveling nicely at the rail, and 2 from the front. First-time starter Dehydration just outside of her. Then it's 2 back, 2 Congrats Girl. Where's Mom is midfield now, but 6 behind, passed by Unlawful Assembly. Many chances top of the stretch. Minji narrowly in front of Lil Feathered Indian. Minji is at the rail. Lil Feathered Indian is a second. God's Gift is moving from the back of the pack, and also in the center of the racetrack, here comes Dehydration. And Dehydration is trying to run down Foreign Exchange, and Foreign Exchange has split horses to take over the lead. And now she's 2.5 in front. Minji, Dehydration, and House Drunk, Foreign Exchange in front. Foreign Exchange won by 2.5. House Drunk was second, Minji third, Dehydration finished fourth.
Joe Talamo on Foreign Exchange for Dwayne Lucas. A big drop down in class, 2-3-4 finish.
And Joe started off on fire, and the reason he started off on fire is rides like this. He set confident down on the rail, finds a gap here coming into the stretch, splits them. Not an easy thing to do. This filly had enough experience, so it was her 6th lifetime start, and she responded to it the right way. Splitting those horses, draws off and wins easy.
What I really like to see, too, is you saw him kind of getting after another turn to get her started going and then asking her to finish late here. I mean, you know, not every horse, like we've said, is push button, can just make one run and go for it. And I think Joe's done a great job of really figuring out the timing at Oaklawn Park and when to ask horses.
Yeah, you've got to set them up for that, just as you said. Get them on the bridle, so when that gap opens that they'll respond to you. Get them dragging you a little bit, and when it comes to you, you're gone.
Not a bad performance first time out, too, from Minji, the firster, giving up a ton of experience to Foreign Exchange, who would get the win there. So one to keep your eyes on perhaps next time out. Tickets to the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival, they are on sale now. New York's premier 3-day racing festival returns to beautiful Belmont Park June 4th through the 6th. Tickets now on sale at Ticketmaster.com. Belmont Stakes history happens here. And of course, back last year in 2019, it was a big surprise, and it was a brilliant ride from Joel Rosario and Sir Winston to get the job done. Really, the other horse for Mark Casse. He returned, of course, Sir Winston for his first start of 2020 after they tried him on the turf late last year. He looked pretty good. They thought this mile might be too short for him. It was not.
No, it was not. And makes that move right there. In tight, squeeze, 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 and comes with a relentless run. Mile was perfect for him that day coming off the layoff.
What a perfect prep race for getting on with a 2020 career here. And like you said, Gary, overcame a lot there. Look at the dirt he's taken compared to the horses in front, and then just powering away at the end. That was really impressive.
Well, assistant Jamie Begg said this exceeded their expectations. The goal with this horse is the Dubai World Cup. They may use the Bernardini February 29th to get there. Realistic chance in that race if he gets to the Dubai World Cup?
He's already showed his class, winning a classic in the Belmont Stakes, going 1.5 miles, and he proved that he can shorten up in distance. That's the perfect distance for him, the Dubai World Cup, 1.25 miles. Wide sweeping turns, just like Belmont Park, long stretch. I think he's going to love it.
Still to come later on this afternoon, one of our feature races, the Grade 3 Endeavour, and all eyes will be on Got Stormy as she makes her 5-year-old debut. Of course, she was absolutely sensational last year, beating the boys at Saratoga, and a runner-up at the Breeders' Cup Mile. For more, we go to Lafitte Pinkai.
Yeah, Greg, Got Stormy. She is 1-9, and rightfully so for this upcoming Endeavour. You know, I heard Gary Stevens mentioning Dwayne Lucas a little bit earlier, and I remember days like this, wall-to-wall stakes activity, and Stevens would be riding contender after contender for a Charlie Whittingham, a Richard Mandela, a Dwayne Lucas. It's an enviable position for a jockey to be in, one that Tyler Gaffalione finds himself in this afternoon. He's riding in 3 consecutive stakes races for Mark Casse, including Got Stormy, and I had a chance to sit down and talk with Tyler earlier today and talk about what it meant to have the faith from a trainer who has that kind of firepower.
It's incredible. Mark's always been a huge supporter of mine from the beginning. He's always given me such great opportunities, and we've had some luck together. So just very appreciative of him and Mr. Barber and everything they've done for me.
Got Stormy in the Endeavour. She's a fan favorite. Like, we get to see her perform, and from a distance, that acceleration, it's visually jumps off the screen. So what does it feel like to you with Got Stormy underneath you when you ask her for her best?
She just accelerates so fast. Her turn of foot is so quick. She gets places without any effort. So she's a lot of fun to ride. You just got to be patient with her and let her run her race.
How excited were you to hear that she was going to come back and race during her 5-year-old season?
I was thrilled when I read the report and then contacted Mark afterwards. He was very excited, and so was I.
Tyler Gaffalione, he handles these situations so well. He won that Preakness last year with War of Will, and now with Mark Casse, this team, as potent as they've been over the last couple of years. And Gary, you'll be able to appreciate this. Fellow Hall of Fame jockey Jerry Bailey, after watching Tyler Gaffalione ride March to the Arch, who he's riding later on today in the Tampa Bay Stakes, after watching Gaffalione's ride in a race called the Wisden at Churchill last summer, he said that ride should be in a textbook for jockeys. That's exactly the way every turf race should be ridden. Very high praise from one of the very best that's ever lived, guys.
No question. It was, by the way, March to the Arch that kept Tyler Gaffalione from being able to ride. He was a regular rider of Got Stormy, kept him off of her in the 4-star Dave when she set a new course record. He never complained, didn't complain at all along the Triple Crown Trail as well when he got interfered with a little bit in the Kentucky Derby by Maximum Security. Just a very talented young rider, former Eclipse Award winner as a leading apprentice. What does he do best as a jockey?
Well, I think, like Lafitte said, commenting on Jerry Bailey's comments, that he sits in the pocket. He's not afraid to sit and wait. You've got to be so patient when you ride on the turf, and he is patient beyond his years. I've seen him dirt, turf, it doesn't matter. He's got a heck of a future for him. Ahead of him, Mark Casse has given him support and continues to.
I'll be on Got Stormy coming off a Grade 1 win in the Matriarch. Let's go to Andy Serling, 7th, coming up in New York.
I think the 7th at Aqueduct's actually a very good betting race because they're way over betting this entry here. In my opinion, the 1 Clench is merely filler, and the 1A Dark Money is the one that they're betting. And while Dark Money is not impossible, I don't think he's just as good as some of the horses in this race. I really think there are better horses in here. His last race was against much weaker, and he's meeting tougher horses, including the 2 Blind Willie McTell. To me, Blind Willie McTell is a very talented runner. Now, maybe he'll need a race off a layoff, but he was very strong, and it's really not until they tried to stretch him out that he didn't run as well. I think 6 to 7 furlongs is perfect for him, but I like a horse to upset all of them, and that's the number 3 Morning Breeze. This is a horse that improved for trainer Robert Glaceris, Bob Glaceris, when he claimed him, and Bob just got back in the game after a hiatus of a number of years. He won first off the claim on the turf, and while he's run well on the turf in the past, he's really more of a dirt horse, and if he can show the kind of improvement he showed for Bob Glaceris on the turf, now switching back to the dirt, I don't see any reason he can't be competitive with these horses. He's 5-1, 9-2 right now. I think he's a very good bet, the number 3 Morning Breeze, against an entry that, in my opinion, is dramatically overbet.
All right, Andy, thank you. So, yeah, Clench and Dark Money, that entry that is at even money right now. And talking about Morning Breeze, the 3 who Andy was just telling us about, Morning Breeze seems like a very versatile running style.
Yeah, and we saw horses come from just off the pace in the previous race, the 6th race. And as you mentioned, this 5-year-old can sit any kind of trip. Going to be forwardly placed, but if he gets shuffled back, not to be worried about. There's plenty of speed in this race. And, yeah, I'd give Morning Breeze a good look in here.
No, I don't want to go against Andy Serling now. I really liked the 2 Blind Willie McTell, but, you know, I just like to listen to Andy now. He really knows his stuff about Aqueduct, and it's, even for us that do this as a living, it's an education to get to listen to someone that watches these races day in, day out.
Blind Willie McTell, 3-time stakes winner. A little surprise, yeah, getting a nice price on the 2 on the board. We'll have the rail. We send it out to John Imbrial with the call, 7th from Aqueduct.
And they're off. Dark Money broke well from the outside. Entry mate Clench is down at the rail. And Ready to Escape is right there, along with Morning Breeze. Ready to Escape goes on with it to take the lead from Clench. Dark Money now moves up. Then it's Morning Breeze who's racing in 4th. It's a break of 3 lengths back to Cecilia Mike. And down at the rail is Blind Willie McTell. The opening quarter mile in 22 and 2/5 seconds. Long shot Ready to Escape in front here by a length. Dark Money is in 2nd by a length, with Morning Breeze on the outside of Clench, who's down at the rail. 2.5 lengths to Cecilia Mike, and Blind Willie McTell continues to trail as the field comes for the quarter pole. Ready to Escape Challenged here by Dark Money, and on the outside, it's a Morning Breeze as Clench switches to the extreme outside for the final eighth of a mile. It is Morning Breeze who has come away with a narrow lead. Here's Clench, and on the outside, here's Cecilia Mike, a 16th to the finish. Here comes Cecilia Mike on the extreme outside, and Cecilia Mike comes from off the pace to win it. Clench was second, and Morning Breeze finished third.
It's the closer from off the pace. Here's Cecilia Mike, Eric Consell, Gary Siaka. Just the 5th win of his career after a lot of seconds and thirds.
Yeah, a lot of seconds and thirds, and well timed here by Eric Consell. Grounded out, 2 victories in a row for Cecilia Mike.
Grade 3 Endeavour and Got Stormy back in action, the multiple Grade 1 winner who beat the boys last summer that we showed you right here on America's Day at the Races. That was on Saratoga Live. Here's a look at AA's Azula's Arch, trained by Marcassi, Julian Leperoux.
Big difference in price from his other entrant in here, 29-1. Blinkers going on this daughter of Arch here, and she'll have to drastically improve from that last career out.
Champion trainer Chad Brown sends out Altia with Joel Rosario, 12-1.
Yeah, and he only hits it 31% with third off the layoff, like in this case here.
Even bigger price next door on the 3. Jehozakat, who I believe we're looking at for Arnaud Delacour. Daniel Centeno rides at 17-1.
Was a gate-to-wire winner on the dirt at Tampa last time out. We'll come back to the grass here, but I'm not sure if we're going to see her on the lead. Even though she has been her last 2, the fractions are very slow. So if someone else wants it, I would say that's going to be the case.
And Dina Del Sur, Jose Ortiz, Tom Albertrani. 2 back was a winner of a stake at Aqueduct.
Yeah, and a bit of an overlay right now. 7-2 on the morning line, 6-1 right now. Still a good price. Going to set a good trip.
Do you think it's got Stormy's race to lose? 1-5 on the Breeders' Cup Mile runner-up.
I mean, it has to be, right? It has to be her race to lose. Marcassi has done this before. This has been a successful stepping stone for his mare Tepin en route to year-end honors. Last year, this was a huge tout for me coming into this into the De La Rose from the Barber family, talking about this mare was going to have a great year. I'm excited to see her kicking off 2020.
And Phantom opening on the outside at 10-1 for Jordan Blair, comes in off a whim. This is a different level of class taking on Got Stormy.
Yeah, different level, but she's won 2 out of 3 at Tampa. Could come home and get a piece of it.
Let's go to Lafitte Pinkai for more with a Grade 3 Endeavour and Got Stormy back in action coming up.
Greg, even from the turf course, you can feel the excitement here from the crowd about to see this bona fide superstorm in the form of Got Stormy here. She is 1-5 as they have just about reached post time. Take a look at her on the track. It was an unbelievable year in this particular division for the Philly Mare Turf in 2019. Got Stormy, she didn't win the Eclipse Award, but she did make history. That's what we'll remember, that incredible run. The first female ever to beat the boys, as you mentioned, in the 4-star Dave, shattering the clock in 1:32 at Saratoga. And you could hear from Tyler Gaffleone earlier how excited he was that she was coming back to race for her 5-year-old campaign. If there is one concern, I guess, if the handicapper at home is trying to take a reason to try and beat Got Stormy, she is 0 for 3 at this 1.116 distance, but that's not to say she hasn't run well at the distance. Just go back and look at her Jenny Wiley at Keeneland last spring. She looks awfully tough. Got Stormy 1-5 as we have just about reached post time for the Endeavour, guys.
Lafitte, thanks. And you know that course record at Saratoga, the 4-star Dave, if it was up to Marcassi, she wouldn't have been in that race. She had just won the De La Rose a week before. Most trainers conservatively say, no, there's no way we're going to go a week later against the boys in a Grade 1 at Saratoga. Gary Barber, her owner, talked him into it because Marcassi said she'd been training better than she'd ever trained in her life.
Yeah, Gary's a game guy. I mean, he's a player, he's a sportsman, and he said, yeah, if she's doing good, Mark, run her. And you know what? This is a perfect comeback race for her, too. There's nothing for her really right now. She was very sharp. You saw her going to the gate. She was bucking, kicking, playing. And you know what? This is a huge relief and class for her. So it's supposed to be an easy comeback today, not take too much out of her. You know, basically a paid workout. But you've still got to maneuver them around there and keep them out of trouble.
Do know she is getting a little hot. You can see when she turned the corner, her neck was a little shiny, but that is just kind of the way she tends to be. We saw her a lot during Breeders' Cup, and she tended to get really warm. Mark Casse did a lot of schooling with her. She was on the track. She was in the paddock an awful lot. So coming into somewhere new, I think that's important.
And I'll tell you something else right now, and during Breeders' Cup, that was the start of when fillies and mares start to come in heat. It comes that time of year, it's breeding season, their hormones change, they start getting hot, and it's just part of the cycle. And you know, Beholder was a lot like that, and it was nothing to worry about. She actually performed better when she would come in heat, and a lot of these fillies do.
And Tyler Gaffalione, who we heard from earlier, he's been the regular pilot. He's back on board today. What's your responsibility, Gary, as a jockey in a situation like this? This is obviously the starting point for a 2020 campaign. There are much bigger goals down the line. You're 1-5, a field that you tower over. How do you approach this race?
Well, the filly's got speed. We all know that. And the main thing, this is just the start of the 2020 campaign. Building towards the end of the year of Breeders' Cup. Hopefully again, we'll get to see her in the Breeders' Cup Mile again, get to enjoy seeing her at Saratoga. But this is just a stepping stone, and Tyler Gaffalione's job, and he knows, riding for a guy like Mark Casse, who's got confidence in him, and Tyler has confidence in the trainer. Bring him home safe. Bring him home in one piece. Don't do anything silly that you could jeopardize the rest of her year.
You did mention that she has speed, and I've always found it surprising because she breaks so sharp. To see him kind of take her back, and she doesn't fight it. She's very kind, I feel like, watching her run. But I would love when she breaks for him to kind of keep her up there. She does seem to need cover to relax fully, but I wouldn't be surprised to see her on the front end. I wouldn't mind to see her on the front end.
You know, it's not really her style, though. The move that she made in the 4-star day, the day that Santana came in and out of the bullpen and subbed for Tyler, the move that she made, they were already running fast, but she ran by him in the at the 8th pole, and he hadn't even moved on her.
Right.
And that's a great feeling with these milers, and this is a mile and a 16th. Lafitte pointed that out. She's doesn't have a win at a mile and a 16th, but I think that's not going to be a problem for her today. And like I said, it's just get a race under her belt and somewhere to get her started.
I feel like the last time she ran the mile and 16th in the Jenny Wiley, she was not the same horse that she was in 2019, right? That was the early 2019 after the De La Rose when she started to do good. I feel like she really rounded into form. So we're talking that she hasn't had the opportunity to run this far since then. I don't think the distance is going to be a problem.
Yeah, she got about 3 months off after that performance, and then she became a super mare.
Tepin number 2?
Yeah, Tepin 2.0 is what they called her. Mark Casse always thought she would be the next Tepin. She has become that. Got Stormy, the 5-year-old mare, starting point for 2020 Breeders' Cup Mile, runner-up, back in action. Here's Richard Grunder.
She's in, and they're off and running. In the Lamb Home South Endeavour, Jehoshaphat is away quickly and reaching up for the early lead. Up on the outside, Andina Del Sur now moves up. A.A. Azula's Arc also away with a top flight, and Phantom Opening drops back and trails the field as they pass under the wire for the first time. As expected, Jehoshaphat and Centeno, they're calling the shots up front and have the lead by a length and a half. A.A. Azula's Arch in a good spot now to be second. 1 length farther back toward the rail, and Dina Del Sur is third. There's the odds-on favorite, Got Stormy. She's in the 2 path. She's only 4 lengths off the pace setter, and she's 2 lengths clear. A Phantom Opening on the outside, and the trailer is Altia and Joel Rosario. They'll spot them 7 as they turn up the backstretch. Jehoshaphat will try. A.A. Azula's Arc is on the chase second. Got Stormy inching up a closer third. Up on the outside in the 2 path and toward the rail, and Dina Del Sur remains fourth. Phantom Opening is fifth. As they leave the half-mile marker and circle the far turn, Jehoshaphat, she's had it all her own way and has the lead by 4. A.A. Azula's Arch is second, and now Got Stormy gets the wake-up call, and Gaffalione handling her very confidently as they turn for home. 3/16 of a mile to run. Jehoshaphat, and the gray mare cuts the corner. She's still well clear and has it by 4. Got Stormy is now set down for the drive and runs up the leader second. Altia is toward the rail third. Jehoshaphat has a 16th of a mile to run to pull the upset. But here's Altia flying from nowhere. Jehoshaphat hangs on to take it. by a head over Flying Altea, and the running time on the board, 1:42.44.
Loose horse on the lead and got Stormy. We didn't see that punch from her in the lane that we're used to seeing.
No, and we were talking about it early on in the race. She didn't have cover. You know, maybe she wasn't tuned up all the way today, but maybe the getting warm. No excuses for her other than that. She didn't have trouble, no cover. Maybe that was the trouble, but she had no kick whatsoever. Loose on the lead, and job done. Job well done.
Jehoshaphat, you know, gets loose and lead like Gary says, and she went really slow in her last race that she won in gate-to-wire fashion, but here she put up a little bit more legitimate fraction, and when horses turn for home and there's no one around them, their hearts get really big, and she was able to fend off that late charging Altea at the end as well.
Yeah, not easy to hold off a Chad Brown runner coming at you down the stretch, but Jehoshaphat able to do so, and at a big price, biggest price we've had on our show today, 16-1. On the 5-year-old mare by Tappet, who's now 3 for 4 at Tampa.
You know, Got Stormy will not be, or isn't and won't be, the last champion to come in and race there and get beat. There's been plenty of horses start their year off and defeated by horses, some hometown horses. The winner, I mean, she was 2 out of 3 at Tampa Bay, so give her some credit. Job well done. Dennis Centeno. The rider did a great job rating and moving at the right time.
Well, let's look in again on the trip from Got Stormy with Tyler Gaffleone. At this point, you would think she's going to kick it into gear.
Yeah, but I noticed early on, she was ranked. She was pulling on Tyler, and she's the type of filly when she gets cover, meaning when she gets behind another horse, she relaxes, throws her ears up. She had her ears pinned the whole way, was pulling, and sometimes, you know, if you turn them loose, it's one of those darned if you do and darned if you don't, because if you let them go, they're going to burn out anyway, and when you pull on them so hard early on, it can take a lot away from them as well.
You can see that when she broke out of the gate, she was really, again, we talked about her, how sharp she breaks out of the gate, and she has that natural quickness. So then the entire stretch almost, she had her head turned to the outside until he was able to find a horse to kind of follow behind and ended up being his stablemate. And then they went a little bit slower than maybe she wanted to go, and so she was pulling and tugging right along as well.
Does this concern you, Michelle? I mean, this is, we know how good she is. We've talked about all the accomplishments. She shows up.
She still showed up. I mean, she still tried. She went out there. She got a good stiff race under her belt. It could have been, too, a little confident handling because Gaffleone didn't, you know, really start to ask her until top of the stretch when that horse is already drawing away. I feel like making a little bit of an earlier move might have been beneficial here, but I'm not a jockey either.
And with a 1-5 favorite not finishing among the top 3, you saw some very tasty show prices there on the board as well, as it's the front runner, Jehoshaphat, with the win and a big upset in the Grade 3 Endeavour. We still have our Derby prep, the Sam F. Davis in Independence Hall to come, and in the Jimmy Winkfield at Aqueduct. Montauk traffic. First time on a fast track, ran away from the field for Linda Rice. We'll get you back to the Big A in South Ozone Park when we come back.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code BIG-A at NairaBets.com.
I think the bonus is really interesting. Mr. McInvale, as usual, is thinking outside the box, doing a wonderful job promoting his horse. Buyers will really appreciate having an opportunity like that to come back and run their horses at these top tracks and earn that bonus.
It's a wonderful incentive both for people in the market and people that own these horses, and I mean, what a great bonus it would be for anybody that wins, and I think it's wonderful.
Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Back on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2, and a monster upset in the Grade 3 Endeavour Breeders' Cup Mile runner-up got Stormy. Not today, as Jehozakat at 16-1, gate to wire for the win, holding off Altia for the Chad Brown barn late.
And she ran a big race, and like I said, disappointing. Got Stormy, but there's always the next race. It was a starting block for her. She got beat today, and heads-up ride by Centano pushed the button at the right time after getting the easy lead and was long gone.
One thing we can say is Mark Casse doesn't panic, right? He's not going to all of a sudden burn every plan that he's had for the year. He's just going to go on and use that as the building block that it probably was.
Well, Tyler Gaffleone, of course, the regular pilot for Got Stormy. Here's Lafitte Pincayo caught up with Tyler right after the loss.
Off the board finish for Got Stormy in the Endeavour here with jockey Tyler Gaffleone. Tyler, what was the difference today? Why did Got Stormy seem to struggle this afternoon?
You know, she had a long campaign last year. This is her first race back. I mean, there really wasn't much pressure. We just wanted her to come out of the race happy and sound. And she pulled up good. Hopefully she comes back good and we'll point to our next spot.
Gary Stevens, observing, said it looked like she was very aggressive, rank, pulling. Did you feel that? How much of that led to the subpar performance by her standards today?
Well, you know, with the speed being scratched earlier in the day, there wasn't much pace in front of us, so naturally she wanted to be a little bit closer, and it's fraction pretty slow for the distance and the quality of horses. So, I mean, she wanted to be a little more forwardly placed, but I don't think it took away too much from us.
Thanks for the time, Tyler. Best of luck the rest of the afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Tyler Gaffleone, though, still busy riding 260 in the upcoming Suncoast and, of course, March to the Arch guys in the Tampa Bay Stakes, both from Mark Casse.
All right, Lafitte, thank you for that. Obviously, somewhat dejected Tyler Gaffleone, but again, as Michelle said, that don't hit the panic button just yet. We'll wait and see. It looks like she still has a lot to accomplish this year.
Yeah, Mark Casse, I mean, he's, like Michelle said, he's not going to hit the panic button, and you just heard Tyler Gaffleone. He's not going to hit the panic button either. Race is a race. It's over with. Move on. Go concentrate on the next race you got to ride.
How difficult is that as we have a big, in this case, the big mare, but one of the big ones you're there to ride that day doesn't put in the kind of performance you're expecting to, and your whole day is kind of built around that. You have to just let it go and move on to the next race?
Yeah, what you do is you hope that you can have some success later on in the day, so that drive back to Miami's not quite as long as if you got the money. But hey, one thing I learned early on is after a race is over with, win, lose, or draw, it's turf history. You got to turn the page, go on, concentrate, get your smiley face back on, and concentrate on that next race. Have a short memory.
Stay in the moment. Yeah, short memory is a good way to put it. We got more coming up from Aqueduct, our feature race in South Ozone Park. It is the Jimmy Winkfield at 7 furlongs. And I want to remind everyone, get signed up, started with Naira Bets, $200 new member bonus. When you get involved, use that promo code Big A to get started. This race named for the last African-American jockey to win the Kentucky Derby. He was born in Kentucky, began his riding career at just 16 years old. He won the Kentucky Derby in 1901, 1902, and then he was second in 1903 before emigrating to Russia, where he competed all over Europe. Finally was inducted into the Hall of Fame. We'll be back. Stay tuned.
Eclipse champion Blame. Ranked among the top stallions of his crop, Blame has sired over 50 stakes horses. His recent top performers include TDN Rising Star Nadal, a $700,000 juvenile purchase, and sensational debut winner at Santa Anita for trainer Bob Baffert. Plus Shotsky, winner of the Grade 2 Remsen Stakes, and Grade 1 performers Mississippi, Alandra, and Natalma Stakes victor Abscon. Outstanding value, outstanding results. Blame, standing at Claiborne Farm.
And they're off. Second in the two path. Horses is Kitty Aquinas taking back. A quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 yards out. As they roll into the backstretch.
Go from Railbird to Winner's Circle. With My Racehorse, you have access to top horses and trainers, backside tours, exclusive ownership experiences, and fast payouts to your online account. With shares starting as little as $100, the winner's circle is waiting for you. Go to myracehorse.com or download the My Racehorse app today to join the thousands who have already started their journey as a racehorse owner.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Back on America's Day at the Races, our show brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Getting set for our feature race. Coming up at Aqueduct, our feature race is the Jimmy Winkfield at 7 furlongs in here. And Montauk Traffic for Linda Rice, Jose Lezcano. The one to beat here in this spot, the Son of Cross Traffic, as we look at News to Me for Michael Trombetta, who's coming out of a race at Parks. Trainer even said not sure if he wants 7 furlongs today.
Well, they did also talk about the rail trip last time out. Mike Trombetta said the rail at Parks is just not the place to be. So I would say the third place finish, just chalk it up to that. He does draw the rail, though, for the 3rd consecutive race in here, Greg.
And had back-to-back stakes victories at Presque Isle, also at Laurel before being down there on the inside, as you mentioned, at Parks. This will be the 3-year-old debut for the Son of Golden Census. We look at Secret Rules for Bill Mott.
Bill Mott, and this one loves Aqueduct, apparently. Broke his maiden his 3rd time out, won 2 in a row. Impressively, in his last race, 8 3/4 lengths he won by.
And he's the favorite right now, not Montauk Traffic, who you're looking at for Linda Rice.
Oh, Montauk Traffic does go first time versus winners. We know he likes the big A. We know the 7 furlongs is going to be up his alley. He was impressive last time out.
8-1 on Old Chestnut for Marcassi.
And he's running on dirt for the first time, surprisingly enough, trying to change things up. He does have 2 wins in his career.
Johnny Ritt coming off a victory, essentially gate to wire in the slop at Parks.
In the slop, I think, is the key there. He's been off the board against Stakes Company prior to that.
Jonathan Thomas has high expectations for this Son of Quality Road, Quixotic.
And needs to be respected. Jonathan Thomas, 6 starts at this meet with 2 winners, and this one coming off a big race last time.
And long shot to the outside, Polar Bear Pete for Eddie Barker, Son of Broken Vow.
This horse was a late addition to this field. You know, 2 starts back, it was a route of ground, just draw a line through that. All his sprint efforts have been good.
Jimmy Winkfield feature from Aqueduct still to come. We're going to take you back to Oaklawn right now, loading up for race 5 here, 6 furlongs, $50,000 claiming race, and we send it out to Vic Stoffer for the call.
That's the outside horse, and his name is Severe. They're at the post. Severe Restless. Set. They're off. Good start. Control Stake wins the break, goes for the front from Powerful Ally and I'm Corfu. Severe is next, then Reason to Soar, and at the rail goes DeRapper. Alongside of him, it's Devil's Halo. Will has 2 beat. Reason to Soar is now second to last, and the trailer is You've Said It All, and the leader is I'm Corfu. I'm Corfu, a neck in front of Control Stake in second. Powerful Ally is 3 deep in third. Outside of him, it's Severe. They move as a team within a length of the lead. Then it's a length and a half to Better Charge It, 5th with 4 lengths to close. At the rail, DeRapper. He Will is a hard-ridden 7th with 5 to make up. Then it's 3.5 back to Devil's Halo and Reason to Soar. You've Said It All is the trailer, and the new leader is Control Stake. Control Stake, a half length in front of Powerful Ally in second, and a 3 wide Severe in third. Then comes DeRapper, Better Charge It between horses, and here comes Powerful Ally to take over the lead. Powerful Ally, the new leader. He's just in front of Control Stake. DeRapper Rapper moves at the rail, and Severe in fourth, but it's Powerful Ally in front. De Rapper comes through from the inside. Powerful Ally, De Rapper trying to get him. Here comes De Rapper. Yes! De Rapper beat Powerful Ally. Severe third, Control Stake fourth.
Final stride or two up the fence. It is De Rapper with the win, the 7-year-old by Cherokee Rap.
We're seeing this all day long, these old geldings, not so old, but 7-year-old gelding. 16th lifetime win for De Rapper, coming up the fence. Ramon Dominguez, staple at Oaklawn Park for a lot of years, and started off a little slow there, but he wins his share at Oaklawn Park.
Former stakes winner. He won a stakes race at Prairie Meadows just last summer. Jimmy Winkfield feature race at Aqueduct is up next. Let's get Andy Serling's thoughts.
Well, we talked about Montauk Traffic at the start of the show, and he was already flattered today a little bit earlier when the third-place finisher of his maiden win came back with a victory at Parks. And I like the race he's coming out of. He raced on the worst part of the racetrack down on the inside, and I like the fact that Linda Rice is showing great confidence moving this horse to a stake, and think Montauk Traffic could be tough today and be a horse with a bit of a future. We have a lot of good sprint stakes in the dirt for the 3-year-olds. In fact, 2 grade 1s. News to Me on the rail is dangerous, and I think it's worth pointing out that 2 back when News to Me won, and we're looking right now at Secret Rules. We'll get to News to Me in a moment. Secret Rules, the likely favorite in this race, looking at multi-race bets. He was a blowout winner last time he ran by almost 9 lengths. I don't know how strong the race was, and it didn't come up super fast. He's a contender, but to me, a bit vulnerable as the favorite. As I mentioned News to Me earlier, when he won 2 back in the James Lewis down at Laurel Park, he beat a horse by a nose named Informative, who won nicely in a maiden race a little bit earlier in the card here. And in his last start in the PA Nursery at Parks, he was down on the inside for most of the running, and it probably wasn't the best place to be at Parks. I think he's a solid runner for trainer Mike Trombetta, who, of course, is center stage at Tampa very shortly with Independence Hall. A competitive running of the Jimmy Winkfield, guys.
Yeah, Andy, thank you. So 9-2 right now on News to Me. Secret Rules, though, the 2 is favored for trainer Bill Mott. And I wanted to go back to Quixotic, the 6 in here for Jonathan Thomas. He does not usually bring horses back this quickly, but he's excited about this horse. He believes he's a stakes quality runner.
But he's not sure if he's going to get it done today in the newspaper article that I read about it. However, I really like this colt. First time versus winners is never my favorite angle, but I think he's favorably drawn here. He's got the most speed to the outside of the inside speed. He obviously likes Aqueduct by the pedigree. Quality Road out of a Tisnow mare. That is route top and bottom to me. So I feel like this horse, the longer the better. And this is a nice 7 furlong stepping stone because that distance is a really testing distance. It's a little long for sprinters. It can be a little short for route horses, so I think this is a really great transition race for him.
You just saw Montauk Traffic for Linda Rice move in line, bouncing back and forth between favoritism with Montauk Traffic, the 3 and the 2. Secret Rules for Bill Mott. It is the Jimmy Winkfield, our feature from Aqueduct here on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Here's John Imbrial with the call.
Polar Bear Pete is now in, and we are set for the start. And they're off, and it was a slow start for Quixotic, who trails the field. Long shot, Johnny Ritt is going out for the lead with Secret Rules. Then it's a length and a half to News to Me in third. Polar Bear Pete is next in fourth. They're followed by Montauk Traffic in fifth, 2.5 lengths to slow starting Quixotic, who's now moving up on the outside. And the trailer is Old Chestnut. A battle up front. It's Secret Rules, the favorite on the inside, and 35-1 shot Johnny Ritt on the outside. The two of them are together through a quarter in 23 seconds. Secret Rules at the rail. Johnny Ritt on the outside. They've got a little more than 2 lengths on News to Me. Quixotic has gained ground on the outside, and Quixotic is right behind the front runners in third. News to Me runs in fourth. Old Chestnut on the move on the outside in fifth. Then Polar Bear Pete and Montauk Traffic is the trailer. trailer after a half in 46 and 3/5 seconds. They're coming for the top of the stretch. Secret Rules still pressured here by Johnny Ritt. The two of them are 1-2 into the stretch. Secret Rules asks for more now down at the rail. Johnny Ritt not going away. It's Secret Rules and Johnny Ritt. And now there's a lane for Montauk Traffic, who's coming on. Here comes Montauk Traffic on the outside. Secret Rules digs down at the rail. Montauk Traffic on the outside. It is Montauk Traffic, a last to first winner of the Jimmy Winkfield.
Montauk Traffic with a win in the Jimmy Winkfield and the assist from the long shot Johnny Ritt.
Big assist there. Perfect setup for Montauk Traffic. Secret Rules and the long shot Johnny Ritt head and head on the lead. Wing dinging it up front and sets it up for a game. And he's back last right now, making a nice move. Mid-pack right here, down inside, and then going to swing out. Very comfortable win for him in the end.
I mean, right there, he was waiting, saving all the ground around the turn. And then, like you said, he's going to be able to swing outside. Again, we're seeing a lot of these horses with a lot more maneuverability than I feel like we've seen in previous years. So nice that he's able to move him outside there and just really explodes once he gets out of the dirt coming at him.
And this is a horse for Linda Rice. At one point, she was thinking Withers with this runner. We may see this horse on the Triple Crown Trail at some point.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the year, you've got to at least try him 2 turns, see what they'll do. And I love the style that he showed today. And, you know, he flattened out a little bit, but he made a huge move coming in up the lane there and had the maneuver out, like Michelle said. Not an easy thing to do for a lightly raced 3-year-old. So
can we not take anything away from the 2 either? Because he did every ounce of the heavy lifting here.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, I mean, you're Junior Alvarado in this spot on Secret Rules, the 2. I mean, what options do you have?
You have none. None whatsoever. I guarantee you, he's looking over at Chris DiCarlo, but take nothing away from the 5-horse. He stuck around the still run third. He ran a big race. And Chris DiCarlo, he'll bring some long shots in. He rides them with confidence. You can't put any blame on him. But they did do all the dirty work. And Secret Rules, he's won out of the 1 hole. He's drawn inside his last 3 races and been able to win 2 out of those 3. And today he showed a lot of gameness in defeat.
So it's Montauk Traffic, winner of the Jimmy Winkfield, the feature at Aqueduct as we head back to Oldsmar, Florida, and the Suncoast. Still to come, of course, our Kentucky Derby prep, the Sam F. Davis, with points on the line to get into the starting gate for the Kentucky Derby, and Independence Hall putting that undefeated record on the line. Right now, though, the Suncoast at 1 mile and 40 yards for 3-year-old fillies, and the return of Comical moving to a new barn. She'll be with Steve Asmussen in here, debuting for him this afternoon. We saw her win the Schuylerville last summer at Saratoga. We begin with Lucrezia for Ono de la Cour.
Making her 2020 debut, we just saw de la Cour with the win last time in the Endeavour, and first time long for this filly.
We the Clouds for Timothy Ham, one first time out.
Yeah, and by constitution, maybe one of the hottest sires out there right now. Only 3rd race of her career.
260. She's already a stakes winner here at Tampa.
And that's got to be something that's favorable in her corner, because I feel like this surface plays a little bit on the tricky side. Gaffalione going to be aboard here. Her lone really bad race was against Grade 1 Company in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies last fall.
Let's see if Mark Cassey, who trains 260, can bounce back. Of course, got Stormy just big upset in that Endeavour in the last race. Here's Mo 2. Kenny McPeak sends out with Jose Ortiz.
Yeah, she was second in the Golden Rod at Grade 2 at Churchill Downs. That was on November 30th. And she won second time out, so she's proven that she can win off of a layoff as far as I'm concerned.
Here's the Schuylerville winner from last summer at Saratoga, and she was tested in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, did not fire that day.
No, but she did fire in the Grade 1 Chandelier here, going 1 mile and a 16th on round 2 turns. She was second to Bast.
Miss Important for Kenny McPeak. Gate to wire scored a breaker maiden on synthetic last start.
Yeah, as you said, that was at Turfway Park. It was impressive. She stepped up big time from what she had done in her previous races.
Blame Debbie, now with the Graham Motion Barn. Maiden breaker at Keeneland back as a 2-year-old.
Yeah, she ran 3rd in the Demoiselle last time out, going 1 mile and an 8th, so she cuts back in distance, and this one's been a favorable one for her. She did break from the rail, though, last time when she broke her maiden going gate to wire.
Turtle Tracks put together back-to-back wins, and as a result, Connections tried the Grade 2 Goldenrod.
Tried the Goldenrods, had some time off, and you got to respect the connections of Ian Wilkes and Julian LePeroux off of the layoff and trying the stakes again, so he thinks something of her.
And embossed on the outside, a daughter of Medaglia d'Oro, impressive winner on the dirt at Tampa, and then she came back and won on the turf.
Yeah, you like to see a horse that is multifaceted, and she gets second-time Lasix as well, which is an angle that I really like.
So the favorite right now, it is Blame Debbie for Graham Motion and Eclipse Thoroughbreds. She's making her 3-year-old debut, and again, she is coming out of the Grade 2 Demoiselle at Aqueduct when they tried her at 1 1/8 miles. Second start of her career, though, impressive win at Keeneland as we check in with Lafitte Pink-Eye.
Yeah, Greg, this Suncoast here for 3-year-old fillies here, and it isn't offering graded stake status, but there are points for the Kentucky Oaks, the most prestigious race for 3-year-old fillies in North America. Let's take a look at Comical, who was the morning line favorite. You mentioned she is switching stables. You know, she's faced some of the best. She ran in a couple of Grade 1 races to close out her 2-year-old season. So if nothing else, this is going to feel like a much softer spot for her. For Comical here. So we'll see if the dropping class, so to speak, wakes her up a little bit and see how effective she is here at Tampa. Number 7, you mentioned Blame Debbie. At 3-1, the tepid choice. Hall of Famer John Velasquez in the saddle, donning the same silks Jose Ortiz will be in aboard Independence Hall for Eclipse Thoroughbreds. Spoke with Aaron Wellman of Eclipse Thoroughbreds. He said the key with Blame Debbie today, really nice filly, needs to get first run on the closers, save ground, that tactical trip so that she can hold off the late chargers through the lane. Blame Debbie. And then you have 260, number 3, currently 7-1. Those silks again, Tyler Gaffleone in the bright pink colors of Gary Barber, trained by Mark Cassie. We just saw him struggle quite a bit with Got Stormy in the Endeavor. 260 may not be the standout Got Stormy was, at least on paper, but she's dangerous, proven on this track, having won the Gasparilla last month at a sprint distance, guys. But she is best when she makes the lead, while she is very quick leaving the gate. The concern, several others are quick in here as well, Greg.
Lafitte, thank you. Taking a look at her favorite in here, Blame Debbie. John Velasquez for Graham Motion, 3-1 on the board. You know, as we go back to Comical, who we saw a lot here out on the West Coast during her 2-year-old campaign. I mean, she showed, you know, super precocious, winning the first couple of starts of her career, including shipping all the way east to win a stake at Saratoga. What do you expect from her coming back in this 3-year-old campaign?
I expect her to run well. I mean, she ran too bad to be true in the Breeders' Cup, and I think there may have been a reason for that. They were they were digging up the track. It was a deeper sort of surface during the Breeders' Cup. She had a hard campaign. You mentioned that she shipped back to Saratoga, came back. She bounced off that in the Sereno, and then came back in the Del Mar Debutante. Ran respectable and ran huge in the Chandelier, and may have run too big that day, and that might have been why the poor effort in the Breeders' Cup. And Steve Asmussen, he's not going to stick her in a spot like this unless he thinks a lot of her.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that she was going to be a one-turn type, so she really impressed me in the Chandelier. And speaking of horses that can maybe translate to 2 turns, I think the one Lucrezia is super interesting in here because she's going to get a really great trip, I feel like.
First of 2 Kentucky Oaks preps on our show. We still have the Las Virgenes from Santa Anita later on this afternoon. Right now, the Suncoast, 10 points to get into that starting gate for the Kentucky Oaks. 2, the winner, Motu, the 4, favored for Kenny McPeak, and the return of Comical in a new barn for Steve Asmussen as we send it out to Richard Grunder for the call of the Suncoast here on America's Day at the Races.
Supplemental nomination for the Suncoast, Joel Rosario. In town for the call. She's in. Now 1 more to go. Embossed. She's in. A wide open field of 9 are at the post. And they're off and running in perfect order for the 40th edition of the Suncoast. 260 as expected, away sharply and gunning right for the early lead. Lucrezia is there toward the rail. Comical moves up in a good spot. Up on the outside is Miss Important, and Embossed is the last horse away. As they swing around the clubhouse turn. Up on the outside, that's 260. Now going to the lead, Lucrezia is there toward the rail second. Then it's a break of 3. Comical settles into stride now, 3rd by a length. We the Clouds is there toward the rail now, 4th. Up on the outside, Miss Important is 5th. From between horses, Motu is traveling along 6th. Then it's a length and a half farther back to Turtle Tracks now racing along 7th. The trailer is Embossed as they make their way to the far turn. 260 continues to be shadowed by Lucrezia on the outside, and those 2 up front, and they're clear by 2. Comical now racing along 3rd. Motu on the outside now going for run. on. She'll be stacked up 4 wide on the turn. 2.5 lengths farther back. Turtle Tracks is now coming under ride and not responding and being passed by Miss Important on the outside as they approach the quarter-mile pole. Lucrezia and Daniel Centeno and Delacour, they're trying to go back-to-back. Mo 2, the whip is out and runs at the leader second. 260 is toward the rail third. Comical is set down for the drive fourth, but as they turn into the stretch, Lucrezia and Centeno, they re-break. They're in the clear and Strictly the one to catch. Mo 2 on the outside can't gain on the leader second. 2.5 lengths farther back to Turtle Tracks, but it's Lucrezia. Centeno and Delacour go back-to-back. Turtle Tracks up on the outside second. Mo 2 was third, and Comical was fourth. Running time on the board, 1:39.99. That's just 2/5 off the stakes track record.
What a performance from Lucrezia in here, and she handles the 2-turn test with no problem at all.
Handles it fine, and you see a lot of horses come in to this surface at Tampa. She won on this surface, but you'll see them come in and not really handle it. It's a trying racetrack. See a lot of good horses get beat over this main track. She relished it, and we're going to hear more from this filly. She was very impressive.
Super smart move by Daniel Centeno. He was on the inside of that other filly, 260. He ekes this one back, kind of like we saw with the tax horse earlier, and puts her to the outside because she's already starting to move. And once she's able to do that, she can intimidate the horse down along the inside. She moves right on past her, and then he's able to give her a breather because you saw him kind of stand up and look behind him like, is anyone coming? So she takes a couple of really big breaths there before he asks, and he asks her before the top of the stretch, and he's able to already spurt away, putting some distance between everyone trying to catch her. Super smart ride.
As easy as could be for Lucrezia. She's won on turf, she's won on dirt, she's won sprinting, and now she's won at a mile and 40 yards, stretching out, going longer, and she also now has 10 points to get into that starting gate for the Kentucky Oaks.
Yeah, and buy into Mischief and out of a Rahi mare. I used to ride Rahi. He started out on turf, wound up running on the dirt, set a track record at Hollywood Park, so he's got speed and distance on her side.
Back at the Jimmy Winkfield feature today at Aqueduct, Montauk Traffic decided to stay away from any kind of pace duel up front as Secret Rules and Johnny Ritt were all over each other early on. Montauk Traffic says thank you very much and picks up the win.
And does Linda Rice have another Derby horse on her hands?
Could be, right? She had Max Player win the Withers, and now Montauk Traffic stepping into the spotlight.
Yeah, really nice win here, $7.60 for the victory for this 3-year-old son of Cross Traffic. His first time versus winners. He goes back-to-back at Aqueduct.
Nightcap in New York, and there's the winning photo. Linda Rice. What would that mean for Linda to get to a Kentucky Derby? And now maybe a couple of horses are going to be on the Derby trail for her. 9th race, New York bred, $25,000 maiden claiming event at 3/4 of a mile. Valid Quest favored right now. Mark Cassie trains this one.
It's son here of Mark Valesky taking the class drop down in for $25,000. Also getting a nice cutback in distance. Last 2 outs have been at the mile. I do think that one of those 2 things is going to make a big difference today, either the class drop or the company drop.
Well, we just had a Kentucky Oaks prep in the Suncoast. Impressive winner, Lucrezia. We still have another Oaks prep to come out here in Southern California in the Las Virgenes, Venetian Harbor. 10 3/4 length winner in her debut. Now we'll stretch out 2 turns. And Stellar Sound for Bob Baffert back in action. Stay with us.
Run Happy is simply super. He polishes off an outstanding campaign with a dominant victory in the Malibu.
No medication, no problem. Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code Big A at NairaBets.com.
Back on America's Day at the Races here on Fox Sports 2. It's brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. We have another Kentucky Oaks prep on the way, and it's coming up from right here in Southern California with a preview. Let's go to Millie Ball.
Well, fast horses in the morning will direct action at the windows in the afternoon, and that's been the case with Venetian Harbor. The question today is, can she validate favoritism, carrying that speed around the two turns here at Santa Anita? And rather interesting that she's such a heavy favorite when Bob Baffert has two in the race. Now, Baffert has Gingham, who in the morning is really indicating that she's an improving filly. We've seen that also in the afternoon. And Stella Sound, the key with her is that she relaxes early. She has the body type of a two-turn filly, and she has that style about her. She can really cover the ground and gets motoring. So I think Stella Sound might be the one to upset the heavy favorite, guys.
Millie, thank you. Stellar Sound, one of two fillies in that race for trainer Bob Baffert, but it is all eyes on Venetian Harbor, and she went gate to wire, just decimated that field in that maiden special weight in her first try on dirt. Does she go to the front and just run them off their feet, or do they try and ration that speed?
You know, I don't know what the plan's going to be. I find it interesting that Joel Rosario chose to go to Tampa today. If it tells you anything, I don't know. I mean, $200,000 here at Santa Anita. He's given up on a 2-5 shot after she won by 10 lengths. So does that tell you anything? I don't know.
A lot of sprints in that pedigree, including her fourth dam safely kept former champion.
I'll tell you what, Greg, I like a horse in there with a little bit more stake experience. Cholula Lips, I think, is an interesting horse that could spring an upset.
We'll have that coming up. Grade 2, Las Virgenes on the road to the Kentucky Oaks for 3-year-old fillies. Back at Tampa Bay. And what a performance from Lucrezia, who has picked up some points for the Kentucky Oaks. $13.80 for the win. Daniel Centeno, Arnaud Delacour winning connections on this 3-year-old filly by Into Mischief.
That's the last time you're going to see her pay $13 for a while, I think.
Yeah, right?
No
Especially
question.
at Tampa.
Yeah, she was impressive. One to certainly keep your eyes on going forward on this road to the Kentucky Oaks as we move on to the Tampa Bay Stakes. And of course, March to the Arch for Mark Casse. Tyler Gaffleone, he was forced to ride March to the Arch, and he missed out on the mount on Got Stormy in that 4-star day because he was already committed to this one. This horse won his 5-year-old comeback and now in that grade 3 for his second start of 2020.
Yeah, in that situation way back when with March to the Arch, Tyler Gaffleone had given a commitment to Live Oak Plantation, and Mark wanted him to stand by it. He told him, look, you're going to miss the ride on Got Stormy, but she's your filly, you're going to get her back.
We're back at Oaklawn. As you can see, the 6th race coming up, an allowance optional claiming field, mile and a 16th. Let's go to Nancy Holthus.
Thanks so much, Greg. Well, Jerry Hollendorfer's got 2 chances for victory in here. First off, the number 1, Calf Moon Bay. She was actually third to Bellafina back in the grade 2 Las Virgenes last year. Now, she did return to run second to a monster in Chief Chickatrice in the Zia Park Oaks last out back in late November. Now, again, Hollendorfer's got 2 chances in here, still looking for his first victory of the meet. But another who's got 2 in here is trainer Steve Asmussen. An interesting runner getting a lot of respect at the window is the far outside horse, the Argentinian, who is making her American debut in La Renoletta. She is a perfect 4 for 4. She's sprinted, she's won on turf, she's won last out at 1.25 miles. Her last race was late June in her home country in Argentina. She's got a pair of 5 furlong bullet drills down at the fairgrounds. They bring her up for her debut here at Oaklawn and her American debut. His go-to in Ricardo Santana aboard, but a horse for the course, a perfect 4 for 4 here at Oaklawn, is the horse who breaks just or inside is Clever Serve. So we'll see if it's going to be a Hollendorfer or an Asmussen who may get the W. Guys?
I like her on top, but I thought
About those trainers with 2 in this race, but on the outside, La Renoletta, Group 1 winner. As mentioned in Argentina, she never lost in that country, and now comes the States debut. She'll break on the outside from post 8 as we go to Vic Stauffer for the call race 6 from Oaklawn.
They're at the post. Number 1, Calf Moon Bay, extremely fractious in the gate. Martin Garcia's off. See if Doc wants to back her out. And they will. Doc's going to take a look at Calf Moon Bay. She was very fractious there in the gate. Going to be a delay.
All right, so we have a slight delay here as that bad actor gets looked at here quickly.
Jock's getting back on right now. Doc cleared this one to run and on his way back into the gate.
All right, let's send it back out to Vic Stauffer, race 6, Oaklawn Park.
They're off. Slow start for Goodbye Earl. Fast start for Carissa Christmas, Glamorized. Blessed Again, who's going to take back, and Calf Moon Bay, who moves through at the rail. So 3 across the track. Glamorized and Carissa Christmas are now 1-2. Calf Moon Bay backs off to sit 3rd from Blessed Again and to the outside La Renolita. Then comes the slow starting Goodbye Earl. 2 back to Fiery Lady, and Clever Serve is at the back of the pack as they turn into the back stretch with Carissa Christmas, the one to catch. Carissa Christmas is 2.5 lengths in front of Glamorized and Calf Moon Bay together 2nd and 3rd. La Renolita, the undefeated Argentinian, races in 4th, and she's 3 lengths off the lead. Then it's 2 back to Fiery Lady, Blessed Again, and Goodbye Earl at the rail. That threesome is about 5 off the lead. And then 7 lengths last to Clever Serve. There's a half mile left to run. Carissa Christmas continues to lead. La Renolita is about to move from 4th up into 2nd, and there goes La Renolita into 2nd, and she's after Carissa Christmas. Just outside of her is Calf Moon Bay. Fiery Lady is next, and they run towards the top of the stretch. Carissa Christmas has the lead, and La Renolita is after her in 2nd. La Renolita is just within ahead of the lead. Carissa Christmas has the lead. La Renolita alongside, and these 2 off the top of the turner together. 3 back to Blessed Again and Clever Serve. Final furlong, La Renolita takes charge. And now she's 2 lengths in front. Her stablemate, Clever Serve, is going to run up into 2nd, but La Renolita is far in front, and she is 5-4-5. Good-looking filly, La Renolita. La Renolita won by 10 in the end. Clever Serve was 2nd, Glamorized 3rd. Close for 4th between Carissa Christmas and Blessed Again.
Snaz wasn't exacta in here, but La Renolita is the story. Dominates this field. Impressive States debut, and now a perfect 5 for 5 in her career. We have another perfect horse who has never lost before. Independence Hall still to come. 3 for 3, those 3 victories by a combined 21 lengths on the road to the Kentucky Derby. He'll line up next in the Sam F. Davis when we come back on America's Day at the Races.
Warfront. This son of Danzig ranks among the world's elite sires, with Grade 1 winners on dirt and turf, and star performers both at home and abroad. Warfront's success as an international super sire is unmatched. Recent Grade 1 winners include Omaha Beach and Preakness Stakes hero War of Will. In the auction ring, Warfront was the #1 sire by highest average at Keeneland September, with yearlings commanding prices up to $2.9 million. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You know, I think Run Happy has a lot of things going for him. Obviously, he's been very respected, and to, you know, to give people further incentive to buy them for where they can take an offspring, run it, and if they win, they're going to get a $100,000 bonus for each Run Happy they have. You know, it's another selling point from our perspective that really helps us promote the horses that we're representing and we're selling.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. Andy Serling at beautiful Aqueduct in Oaklawn Park, New York. And do want to remind people, while we have one race left to go here at Aqueduct, and quite a few, a lot more action to come on the show, there will be a mandatory payout of our Empire 6 carryover tomorrow. 20% takeout, 20-cent bet. The carryover, $363,000. So that's tomorrow on our 9-race card, races 4 through 9. On to today's action in the 9th race today. And I'd like to be able to come up with some sort of bigger priced horse, but frankly, I think 8 to 5 right now on the 5 Valid Quest is an overlay, and imagine she'll be a shorter price by post time. She's going to appreciate the cutback in distance, and she drops in class, and she gets a rider change. She is an hour and a half the horse to beat. I am a bit scared of 518, the first-time starter for Todd Pletcher. Don't like that with the pedigree they're running for only $25,000, but she does have some pedigree, and Todd Pletcher has done well with his maiden claimers in New York over the last year. The 3 Bronze Lion, another horse to take a look at, but I think it's Valid Quest, race to lose, guys.
Andy, thank you. Yeah, Valid Quest will break from post 5 in here, and this is the lowest level that he has run at yet. Started out against New York bred maiden special weights, showed improvement, dropping for maiden 40 and now in for maiden 25. As we see the 8 step in, Andy also mentioned that first timer, the 7-5-18 from the Todd Pletcher barn. Son of Ghost Sapper making his debut. Always have to be wary of first timers from that outfit. The 9 moves in, and then a long shot, our Troubadour to the outside. Will be the last to load as we go to John Imbrial and the nightcap from Aqueduct. Valid Quest, the 5, the one to beat for Mark Cassie.
And they're off. Number 4, Mo Lightning, got left at the gate and is at the back. Up front, it is Bronze Lion who's going for the lead with Concrete Jungle, and the favorite Valid Quest is in between those two, a close-up third. Chiricahua on the outside in 4th, and it's 2 lengths to Beta in 5th. After that slow start, Mo Lightning is advancing down at the rail from 6th. Far outside is Our Troubadour next in 7th. Then it's Last Look at the Cat in 8th. 518 is in 9th, and Carnegie Song trails the field in 10th. Opening quarter, 23 seconds. Bronze Lion by a head. Chiricahua now draws right alongside, and the 2 of them are heads apart for the lead, with Valid Quest just in behind, racing in 3rd. Our Troubadour now moves up into 4th as the field hits the top of the stretch. Bronze Lion, here's Valid Quest on the outside. Valid Quest to the front as they come down for the furlong marker. It's Valid Quest in front, getting clear by 3. Then Bronze Lion, followed by Chiricahua and Our Troubadour. It's a double for Dylan. He wins the finale here on Valid Quest. Bronze Lion was 2nd, then Our Troubadour and Chiricahua.
Yeah, John Imbrial, D squared, takes the late double. Valid Quest, Mark Cassie, Tracy Farmer gets the victory, and definitely was the horse to beat, as Andy mentioned, coming in.
Well, love the cutback in distance for him. He had been running a mile in his last couple of outs, and he also gets a massive class break. You know, he was going against maiden special weights in his first 2 outs. Last time out, tried the maiden 40, and here really found a home at a much the best maiden 25. Very impressive, drawing off at the win with that fitness that he's drawing from those back-to-back route races.
All right, we go to Tampa Bay, Grade 3 Tampa Bay coming up, mile and a 16th on the turf. And March to the Arch for Mark Cassie and Live Oak Plantation with Tyler Gaffleone, 5-2.
Was a winner last time out in the Sunshine Millions turf over at Gulfstream Park. He definitely likes the distance, and he's done okay at Tampa as well.
Devamani, Chad Brown, Joel Rosario.
4 for 19 in the career.
Here's a 3 Admiralty Pier, Barbara Minshaw.
Was in the front of a compact field last time out in an off-the-turf event.
Caribou Club, been in sharp form of late.
Yes, he has, and he improves with age. Just turned 6 years old, 9 for 22.
5-2 on Caribou Club. Jose Ortiz will be aboard. Halliday has very good speed, 3-time winner on the turf.
3-time winner. First time at Tampa Bay, Johnny Velasquez for Todd Pletcher.
Son of Warfront, Halliday. We'll try and pick up the 4th win of his career. Hembry, Mike Maker trains the 7, son of Proud Citizen.
A 6-year-old full horse coming in off a break, but he has successfully run off a layoff before.
More speed here, no question, on Real Story for Nacho Correas.
And Jesus casting on a board. This one's 1 for 1 at Tampa. Seems to like it there, the Gray does.
And my Barley on the outside. Long shot, 33-1. Daniel Centeno will ride.
He'll get a cut back in distance, but so far he's 0 for 8 at this particular route of ground.
All right, we're a minute to post in the Grade 3 Tampa Bay. Let's check in again with Lafitte.
Yeah, Greg's sun starting to set here at Tampa Bay Downs, and we're getting closer to the main event. Later on, the Sam Davis, we're talking about Kentucky Derby hopefuls, 3-year-olds moving towards a Triple Crown. All eyes on Independence Hall, 6 to 5 in the morning line. Post time 5:30, but first things first, we're getting closer to post time for the Tampa Bay Stakes. Long distance turf racing, mile and a 16th, the purse $150,000. This thing is wide open, and part of the issue for the handicapper, figuring out the pace puzzle. On paper, you start with number 8, Real Story, who does have a lot of speed. He's dangerous, he's fast, and when he makes the lead, he's a problem. He's tough to catch. The issue is there are other horses to his inside, quick as well, Renaissance Frolic and Holiday. They're not going to simply hand him the lead for Real Story. I still think he makes the lead, but at what cost? How much energy will he expend? So if that pace is real hot, going to benefit number 1, March to the Arch. There he is, recent winner of the Sunshine Millions Turf, January 18th, Gulfstream Park, Stone Closer. Faster the pace, the more effective his late kick will be. There's that combo again. Tyler Gaffleone, Mark Cassie. This will be the 9th consecutive time Tyler Gaffleone has ridden March to the Arch. And then you have the morning line favorite, number 4, Caribou Club, 5-2 on the morning line. Now the second choice, there he is at 3-1. Like March to the Arch, he does his best running, guys, from off the pace. Well-traveled gelding, spent last year racing in California, Dubai, Canada, West Virginia, Maryland, New York. About to make his Tampa and 2020 debut with Jose Ortiz aboard. Ortiz, a date with Independence Hall in about half hour. That's just 3 of the contenders, guys, and you could easily make a case for a couple others. Wide open Tampa Bay Stakes.
Yeah, Lafitte, thank you for that. Jose Ortiz, as mentioned, he'll be on Independence Hall coming up, and that's Sam F. Davis, I should say. And Caribou Club, Gary, just missed by a neck last time out, but a former Group 2 winner.
Yeah, and you know what? He was first on the Also. Actually would have got into the Breeders' Cup. That was the original plan, to run him in the Breeders' Cup Mile last year. And since he was on the Also eligible, Tom didn't send him out here for Glen Hill Farm. Chose to take him to Aqueduct, run him in the Artie Schiller, but as you said, well-traveled. And that's just to give you an idea what he thinks about Caribou Club. And as I said, I think he's getting better with age.
Every distance fits him. He runs short, he runs long. He's a 2-time stakes winner here at Santa Anita. He's carried his game from track to track to track, as you can see right here. Plus, I think he can get a really great trip here with Jose Ortiz. There's plenty of speed in this race, like Lafitte was mentioning, some speed to his outside, but I think he tucks in right there, and he doesn't have to be very far off the speed, whereas March to the Arch is a stone-cold closer. We saw speed be prevalent in the Endeavour. This could be the case that the first jump is going to get it, and Caribou Club is going to get the first jump.
Yeah, and he's got a great kick. And the thing is with Caribou Club, if they're going fast, he drops a little further back. He kind of dictates his own race. He's an easy horse for a jock to ride. You know what he's going to do. He's going to run that last 3/16 of a mile. He's going to gradually put you into the race, and then he's got a huge kick that last 3/16 to an eighth of a mile.
And even with the big long shot out in here, the 5 Renaissance Frolic, it still seems with Halliday, with Real Story, the 8 in here, and even with Admiralty Pier, there's plenty of pace in here to set it up.
Yeah, I think Real Story is maybe the sleeper here. You throw out his last race, the Shadwell Mile at Keeneland last time out. Nothing went right. He was taken care of by Joe Bravo. Shows him being beaten 20 lengths, and after setting the pace and being up on a pretty fast pace early on, Joe, he caved in. Joe just took care of him. Castanon, for those of you that don't know Jesus Castanon, he actually beat me in my last race of my second retirement. I was riding a horse for Patrick Biancone, a French horse, filly, that they didn't think there was any way that she could get beat. I didn't think there was any way that she could get beat. And we came into the stretch, and they made it the last race of the day on purpose so I could win my last race. And I turned in a lane. She was a come-from-behind filly. It was a full field of 12 horses going a mile on the turf at Churchill, and I saved ground all the way, and a hole opened up at the head of the stretch, and I said, "Vamonos, here we go." And when the hole opened up, I saw a horse 12 in front, and it was Jesus, and he hung on and beat me in neck. So, but Jesus, great racing family, great rider, underestimated, but he always shows up, and a top jock on his own right.
This horse ran big against Catholic Boy in the Dixie.
That's exactly what I was going to say right now, Greg. He ran 4th, only beaten 3/4 of a length, set the pace that day. You know, when you look through, he's a graded stakes winner. He won the American Derby. He really brings an A game pretty much every time, unless you're facing grade 1 company. But his grade 2, his grade 3, and his open stakes efforts are all really good. I feel like this is a sleeper horse. Like Gary said, 7-1 right now. This is a nice price in this horse who has every shot.
And it looks like, I mean, if you're Jesus on this horse, obviously Halliday is a pace presence, but it looks like Real Story's quicker. Do you try and steal this thing?
He's got an advantage being on the outside of Halliday, because he will rate. He doesn't have to have the lead, but if he drags him there, but I would expect Johnny to put Halliday in the race. But yeah, I think Real Story is the speed of the speed if that's what Jesus decides to do. But remember, Jesus is a very patient type rider, rides the race very similar to the way I used to ride the turf. But if the horse takes him there, he won't be afraid to go.
Look at his last 2 outs. He came from extreme outside. I mean, even in the Shadwell, he was the 14 hole out of 14 and still found his way over. So he's at already a more advantage being drawn in the 8 hole here.
Caribou Club and those Glen Hill Farm Silks you just saw move in. The 4-horse multiple graded stakes winner at 5-2 on the board, as is March to the Arch, who is a slight favorite from the rail for Marcassi and Live Oak Plantation. It is the grade 3. Tampa Bay on America's Day at the Races. Here's Richard Grunder.
And they're off. Caribou Club breaks cleanly in reaching up for the lead, but now is taken in hand. Admiralty Pier now moves up toward the rail is March to the Arch, and there goes Real Story. The gray horse on the outside, and Castanon will go up and vie for the early lead in the late running. My Barley is the early trailer. As they sort themselves out and make the charge to the clubhouse turn, Admiralty Pier drops over to the rail and now has the lead. Real Story finds a good stocking position on the outside now to be second. March to the Arch is in hand there toward the rail third. From between horses, Caribou Club is there 4th. Halliday, he's 3 deep and racing 5th. Then it's a break of 3 lengths back. Hembrate now racing along 6th. A length and a half farther back, Davamani, and the trailer is My Barley. But there's only about 8 lengths from front to back as they continue their journey to the far turn. Along the rail, Admiralty Pier, and on the outside, Real Story continues to shadow the pace setter. Then it's a length and a half farther back. March to the Arch, inching up closer toward the rail. Halliday remains 3 wide, and right there, sandwiched between horses, is Caribou Club. Then it's a length and a half farther back. Hembry is now being asked to pick it up. It's still a compact field as they approach the quarter-mile pole. Admiralty Pier is along the rail. Real Story is now set down for the drive. Halliday on the outside and Caribou Club. Ortiz swings him to the outside. Real Story out over heels, almost went down. But meanwhile, up front, Admiralty Pier and Camacho trying to pull a huge upset. March to the Arch, shoots through toward the rail. And here's Devamani from absolutely nowhere. A 3-horse photo, and Devamani might have got up in a 3-horse photo. Very, very tight. And the running time on the board, 1:41.96, and hold all mutual tickets.
No question. Lot to look at here in the stretches. It looks like Devamani for Chad Brown with Joel Rosario just up in time, but some bumping here as well.
Yeah, Halliday, he drifted in sharply, coming in just into the stretch there, interfering with Real Story. Whether it affected Real Story, looked like he was done anyway, but he was definitely interfered with. And actually, March to Arch makes the lead. The two-horse Devamani with Joel Rosario looks like he get his head down on the wire.
Big bold call from Richard Grender there. I wasn't sure who got the nod.
I think the outside got it.
I think
Richard had it right, but don't throw your tickets away.
No, usually you're somewhat safe when you're going with that barn with Chad Brown. We'll see. It was very, very close late. And if it is Devamani and Rosario, we know how good he is at timing these as well. It would be the 5th win of Devamani's career.
And no fault of, you can see Tyler Gaffleon, he was trying to go for that hole as well when Halliday came in, and your 8-horse with Jesus Castanon had to steady hard, and Gaffleon had to tuck back down onto the rail, finds daylight there, makes the lead, and looks like he's home and dry. And Devamani was relentless on the outside. Whether he got up or not, I don't know, but I think he did.
Did Johnny V hear what Jesus did to you in that comeback
He may
race?
have. He may have.
I thought really great ride from, or a really great move from Admiralty Pier there too. He was in between all these horses, so everything's going on around him, and he just kind of stuck his head right in front and just kept on going.
Guys, watching that right there, that was a great shot, and it looked like to me that Tyler Gaffleon on March to the Arch may have started that whole thing by trying to force out. Johnny was staying straight, but his horse actually, when they make contact, it turns his horse's rear end out to outside, forcing the inside, his front end of his body in. If I'm getting too technical here, but if you go back, run that one more time, you're going to see Tyler looking for the hole right here. He's trying to come out. There's not enough room. I think Johnny's horse just got turned sideways into him, making it worse. But
that makes it
that's up to the stewards.
Such a different view too, because when you watch it from the pan view, it looks like the 6 is almost just losing traction when he comes around the turn. But this does make it seem like there's some other interference.
Yeah, he was losing traction when the 8-horse's shoulder hits him in the rear end. His rear end was knocked out from under him, causing him to come in more. But stewards are going to have to take a look at this, I'm sure.
Jesus Castanon obviously taking the worst of this. What does that feel like to be in that position?
You're looking for a place to land on the dirt or the grass in this situation, literally. Years of experience, learning when to pick their head up, where their feet come, and you can jump hills to get out of there. It's always best to stay straight if you can, but if you got to pick your horse up and get him over the hills, a young rider would have probably fallen right there. It looked bad on film, and believe me, it looked worse from between that horse's ears where Jesus Castanon was sitting.
Yeah, scary situation, but luckily everyone able to stay on their mounts here with a little bumping in the stretch. Another look at it right there. And you see on the 8, yeah, Jesus Castanon, whoa, pulling back and having to check out of the action.
You saw the 4 go sideways, or the 6 go sideways there as he made the contact with the other gray horse.
And we're being told that the objection on the board is actually March to the Arch, the 1 on the 3, Admiralty Pier.
And that is
Admiralty Pier was
unofficial order.
straight.
Admiralty Pier, all this was going on, he wins the photo. At a big price, 21 to 1.
He's right there in front right now, Admiralty Pier. He's got the black blinkers and the blue helmet cover.
So does he drift in late? We'd have to see a head-on from that
I don't
point.
know. I don't know. So anyway, here we got the head-on back.
So we're at sort of the mercy here of Tampa Bay, what they're showing us.
I understand why he's calling foul now. He's not claiming foul at the finish. He's claiming foul right as that we went from that come from behind shot there. The 1 drifts out, causing everybody to have to steady. That's where Tyler's claiming foul against the 3.
But Gary, coming around the turn, I mean, even if he comes out a little bit, everyone's using like centrifugal motion to go,
There was no room to come out a little bit. That's the jockey's job, is to keep him straight. I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying the slightest of moves in tight quarters like that at high speed, it's not supposed to happen. Tyler was going for a hole that was apparently there, and then when the 3-horse drifted out, that's the way I saw it just now. After seeing who claimed who against who in the inquiry. Didn't see that the first time around, but I see it this time.
Wow, and you know, when March to the Arch finally kind of got his legs underneath him, it looked like he was going to power away and get the job done here, but Admiralty Pier digs in.
It's hard to get a horse to re-rally. Easier on the turf than the dirt to get a horse to re-rally after steadying. Because believe me, he was steadying not as hard as Jesus was having to steady, but everybody, those two riders were in survival mode right there, everybody for themselves. It's human nature, it's instinct. Both these riders are in survival mode right now, either me or you, and I hope neither one goes down, but that's the frame of mind that you go into when that happens.
So unofficially, 3, 2, 1, let's head out to Lafitte at Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Greg here with Tyler Gaffalione, finished third for the moment on March to the Arch in the Tampa Bay Stakes. Tyler, what'd you tell the stewards what happened?
Around the turn, the 3-horse was on the fence, and he was pretty up against it, so I started to position myself to take that outside spot. As soon as the 8 backed up, coming off the turn, the 3 just kept coming out. I hollered to him a couple times, but just too late by then.
Do you feel that the infraction cost you a win this afternoon?
Most definitely.
Tyler, thanks so much for the time.
Thank you.
We await a decision from the stewards, guys.
And go through this process, Gary. Obviously, for those that don't know quite as much, you have to make your case, obviously, to the stewards.
Yeah, you do, and we're really the only sport that allows the participant to get on the phone with the officials and plead your case. And
do you ever feel like that really made a difference?
I could make a difference, and I've said, and I'll say it again, I don't think jockeys need to be spoken to after the race. There are certain ones of us that had a solid advantage talking on that telephone just because of a language barrier possibility at times, and not being able, the other rider not being able to explain themselves quite as well as another one. But in this case, I mean, the films don't lie. So, you know, I see no need to really have a jockey on the telephone. The stewards are going to make the final call anyway, but definitely the Chris McCarrans of the day, he could have run for president while he was on the phone. He very seldom got his number taken down, but he was a clean rider in saying that.
Is this a tricky spot for the objection to be because it's on the turn and you don't have like that clear path? You know, when it's down the lane, you can kind of like put a pen on the screen and see how far in and out they drift?
It's official right now.
Wow.
So, yes, it is. To answer your question, Michelle, I wish we had better camera work at our racetracks across the United States. I think our coverage could be better. As you saw that come from behind shot coming off of the turn, it wasn't a true straight view of it. It's at an angle. And according to where they have the fences set up, you know, if they move that rail out to 15 feet, as they do when the turf starts getting torn off, they don't have the liberty to move the camera with the depth of the rail. So you get a lot better pictures on the main than you do the turf.
$44 for the win with Admiralty Pier, and that victory will stand. And a lot of people felt that was the reason the change was made in the Kentucky Derby, because it was Derby Day. It was a tough place where cameras probably would have not have been, but because it was the Derby, they were there on that occasion. As we go to Oaklawn right now, entry-level allowance coming up in this 2-turn mile ahead as they are loading up here for this allowance race. Tracking gold to 2, a player in this race for Norm McKnight, as his communicator who moves in, cutting back in distance actually for Brad Cox, and that might be the horse to beat. As we send it out to Vic Stauffer for the call, 7th from Oaklawn.
Determinant. Last to load, Street to Indy is in. Determinant will be the last one to load. He's in, they're at the post. They're off. Communicator and a hard scent New Mexico, Jack Van Berg and Street to Indy. These four will race out. Communicator is going to take back and sit in a good spot from New Mexico and Jack Van Berg. Street to Indy is third. Communicator is now fourth early and two in front of Barefoot Bootlegger, Know Your Options, and Carte Blanche between horses. Frank and Jimmy is next. Then comes Determinate and Tracking Gold, and the trailer is Bandit Point. To the backstretch with New Mexico and Jack Van Berg, 1-2. New Mexico's a neck in front. Jack Van Berg is second, 3/4 of a length as Communicator is guided off the fence for clear running by Joe Talamo, and here's the big favorite Communicator within a length of the lead. Street to Indy tries to go with him. Top four separated by a length and a half. Then it's four back to Know Your Options and Carte Blanche. Frank and Jimmy has 5 lengths to make up. Determinant and Barefoot Bootlegger are next. Then 3 back to Tracking Gold and Bandit Point, and there are 4 across the track going into the far turn. Street to Indy, 4 wide. Inside of him, Communicator. Jack Van Berg stays in the battle. New Mexico's gone, and Communicator has just dropped back to third. He's now a length and a half behind Street to Indy, and Communicator's going up and down at the quarter pole, and Street to Indy is opening up the lead. He is now 2 in front of Frankie and Jimmy, who took second. Communicator's not going to hit the board. Top of the short stretch, Street to Indy is the leader, and he's got a 2-length lead over Frank and Jimmy in second. Determinate just took third. Street to Indy, Frank and Jimmy. Street to Indy in front. Street to Indy won by 2.5. Frank and Jimmy was second. Determinate third. New Mexico finished fourth.
Street to Indy with the win, the 4th win of this 7-year-old son of Street Sense's career. And didn't like that mud last time out, huh?
No, running on a wet track both times, hasn't hit the board. Got beat 34 lengths. I noticed that this morning when I was doing my handicapping. Got back on the fast track today, and if you're paying attention, you got paid for it.
Still to come, another prep race for the Kentucky Oaks for 3-year-old fillies with points on the line on the Grade 2 Las Virgenes in Venetian Harbor. Back in action for Richard Baltus. We'll go through the field when we come back, tackling a couple of Bob Baffert fillies when we return.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Horses is Kitty Aquinas taken back.
Run Happy, you know, he's 16-2, he's a beautiful horse. There's stamina on top and bottom, and he's stamping his horses with that. I think they look big and fast, and like horses that'll go on and run a distance as well as short.
He was a fantastic racehorse, and if he passes on his ability as a racehorse, I think he's a slam dunk to be a great sire. Very athletic looking and beautiful bodied horse as well.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code Big A at NairaBets.com.
From the bitter cold in the east to Baffert country out west and the sun-splashed racetracks of Florida. Every winter, the question in thoroughbred racing is this: who is the nation's best 3-year-old?
Storm the court, pulls it off in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Who will win this year's Kentucky Derby?
Sakatoga Stables, 'tis the law, your Holy Bull winner.
And Max Player will win the Withers by almost 3 lengths.
1,000 Words wins the Robert B. Lewis.
Today in Oldsmar, Florida, the road to the Derby goes through Tampa Bay Downs, and showtime is fast approaching for one special colt.
And it's the Constitution Colt Independence Hall to win the Jerome.
He's undefeated. For now, the Sam F. Davis Stakes is next. Welcome back to Tampa Bay Downs. All set for the main event, the Sam F. Davis Stakes here, and all eyes are on Independence Hall. Though the afternoon has been difficult on the handicappers, it's been long shot after long shot and upsets. We'll see if that trend continues. But here's the story with Independence Hall. He is brilliantly talented, but very temperamental. This was right before the Jerome Stakes. This was New Year's Day at Aqueduct in New York. You'll see Independence Hall. He's throwing a fit. An absolute hissy. Millie Ball would call this acting obnoxious. And here's the thing, while Independence Hall still won the Jerome, he wasn't overly impressive, so you have to wonder how much energy he's expending with these pre-race antics. And that's the question for trainer Mike Trombetta regarding Independence Hall. Is this simply a young, developing 3-year-old? Is this simply Independence Hall going through some growing pains, or is this Independence Hall being Independence Hall?
The personality that we saw that day, we haven't seen before. So they got to grow up. They got to get exposed to everything that's going to happen to them. We came down here and we've taken time to do a lot more schooling. So we're hoping for a much better outcome today. The difference being we didn't have to ship. We're settled in here. He's trained on the track. He's schooled in the paddock. He's schooled in the gate, all of which will be hopefully very familiar to him on race day. So from what we're seeing and the way that he's behaved during the races here, it leaves us with a feeling that, you know, he should do much better.
Mike Trombetta hoping Independence Hall will do that much better this afternoon here. I'm on the front side. I can't see exactly what's going on in the paddock, so I'm going to leave it to the horse people. Gary Stevens, Michelle, you guys have had your eyes on Independence Hall. What are you seeing from him thus far?
So far, Lafitte, I haven't seen a lot, to be honest with you. But I like that they got him there early to Tampa Bay and allowed him a chance to see his surroundings that are around. You know, he didn't look like he was being mean when that happened. A lot of times when you pull the girth on a young horse, it pinches them, and you'll get that kind of reaction. And now I'm trying to put 2 and 2 together. Is that why he acted up in the starting gate? Not necessarily acted up, but a lot of horses are ticklish back behind. They've got pontoons that the assistant starters stand on. And a lot of horses, when those pontoons rub it up against their side, they tend to make them get a little uncomfortable. We got some film of him just a moment ago.
It's interesting to me, too, that Mike Trombetta said that this is not something we generally see from him because they had him saddled out in the open, and you saw how they kind of look at just like this now. And
they're going to saddle him on the walk right
and
now.
They're kind of taking their space with him. They're, you know, in the last race when he acted up like that, they were far enough away. So to me, it seemed like a horse that had previously been a little bit, we call it girthy, doesn't like the cinch up. So as you see right now, they're saddling him technically on the fly, but they did stop him to actually tighten it, and he's going to give a little bit of resistance here. So he might just be a little sensitive. And in this case, what we would do is we would put the saddle on not as tight as it can be, give him a spin around, adjust it, and then tighten more.
Pretty well behaved, though, getting saddled there. And they'd done their work on him. As you take a look at the odds for the Las Virgenes, he'd been schooled 4 times since that bad behavior, and he had not turned a hair since. But Mike Trombetta said until he gets saddled, I'm going to be nervous. Looked like he handled it pretty good there. Venetian Harbor, 1-5 on the board. Kentucky Oaks prep race in the Grade 2 Las Virgenes in Southern California at Santa Anita as we look at Go Big Blue Nation for Mike McCarthy.
Just picked up off the claim last time out for $75,000, so into a salty bunch here in the Grade 2.
Bob Baffert's going to send out 2 3-year-old fillies. Here's one of them, Gingham.
And Gingham has had quite a bit of success here at Santa Anita with 2 wins out of 3 races.
Cholula Lips already a stakes winner for Mike Harrington.
And that's going a route of ground as well, so she's got some experience edge on these other fillies.
Venetian Harbor, her only start on dirt. It was the 2nd fastest sprint by a juvenile filly last year.
Yeah, she's stretching out for the first time. Some people have some wonder about the distance. She's out of a street cry mare, so I don't think distance is going to be a problem for this filly.
Is she the next star in the making? She's going to stretch out today. She's 1-5 on the board. Here's Stellar Sound, the other Bob Baffert filly, daughter of Tappet.
Well, we see the gray filly with Mike Smith on in those silks. We think Unique Bella immediately, but pedigree-wise, this filly should handle the 2 turns beautifully as she stretches out for the first time here.
Some big names have won this race in the past, and Gary Stevens, in fact, you've won this race 4 times in your career.
Yeah, it's a good race. Headed towards the Oaks, and Blind Luck, she was the last one to win this race and go on and win the Kentucky Oaks, but It's always been a terrific race, very contentious race, and fillies that come out of this generally have a long career and a successful career.
Some great names on that list. Of course, Rags to Riches would go on to beat Boys in the Belmont. Sensational rendition of that race for trainer Tom Pletcher. 1-5 though on Venetian Harbor. She debuted actually on turf at Del Mar. Her first start on dirt. She just overwhelmed this field.
What you like to see is when they turn for home here and she's called upon by Joel Rosario. Look at, he just shakes his reins at her and she absolutely explodes. The rest of the field is in a drive behind her, just trying to maintain a little bit of space there, and all she's doing is pouring it on. He wraps her up here. This is easily in a hand ride at the wire. I thought she looked great.
Yeah, that wasn't the Joel Rosario power finish right there. That was a water skiing effort. That looked like a morning workout. And when you see a rider do that of Joel's caliber, from the top of the stretch to the wire, he's thinking, I wonder what's next for her. And it's going to be special. And here's what's next for her. It's the Grade 2 Las Virgenes.
Well, and Joel was aboard for that performance. He opted to head to Tampa Bay. He's going to ride Ajaweed in the Sam F. Davis. So Flavian Pratt, Kentucky Derby winning jockey from last year via DQ, will be aboard Venetian Harbor today.
Yeah.
Had to be a tough choice.
You know what? It had to be, but at this time of the year, if you have to make a decision, it's always going to be your Kentucky Derby preps that are going to take precedence over even a filly like this. It could be a superstar. Had to be extremely tough, and who knows? He might have a deal with Richard Baltus that this is just a loner for the day.
One thing, we know she's fast, but there's going to be a two-turn ask here. She has not gone around 2 turns before, and her works in the morning say, look, I'm quick, but we don't know how far that's going to stretch. She is by Munnings, who's predominantly a sprint sire.
A lot of sprint, yeah, in that family. Venetian Harbor, the 4 filly. Superstar performance sprinting to break her maiden. Can she handle 2 turns? Here's the Las Virgenes. Frank Miramati with the call.
And they're off in the Las Virgenes, and Venetian Harbor comes out smoothly to take command at once. Cholula Lips has her natural speed in second. Then it's Gingham and Stellar Sound right together. Go Big Blue Nation at the back of the field. Venetian Harbor sprints away. She's opened up 6 lengths in a hurry. Cholula Lips is in second, and then it's Stellar Sound third. Gingham is down at the rail, joined by Go Big Blue Nation, Flavian Pratt, and Venetian Harbor. They're stretching out today and lead it by 6 lengths with 5 furlongs to go in the Las Virgenes. Cholula Lips is joined by Stellar Sound. Then it's 2.5 more back to Gingham and Go Big Blue Nation. Gingham starts to pick it up just a bit with a half mile to go. Venetian Harbor's lead down to 1.5 lengths. She's still in hand. Stellar Sound clearly second, Cholula Lips third. Gingham is fourth, now taking third, heading to the 3/8 pole. 3 lengths off Venetian Harbor. Go Big Blue Nation is at the back. They're coming to the quarter pole. Venetian Harbor still in front, 3/4 of a length. Stellar Sound, Gingham continues to make progress on the outside. These 3 are dominating. Venetian Harbor now kicks it in again, opens up 3 lengths on Gingham, who's into second. Stellar Sound third. This is the real deal. Venetian Harbor is all by herself as she strolls home in the Las Virgenes. Plenty of promise here as Venetian Harbor completely dominates. Geared down, wins by 9 emphatic lengths. Gingham was second. Stellar Sound third, then Go Big Blue Nation.
Venetian Harbor, potential star in the making with a great performance. She handled 2 turns, no problem. And the game plan early, let's get that lead.
I loved what I saw there. Going around the first turn into the backstretch, her ears were straight up telling me and the jockey she's very relaxed, very happy with what she's doing. She started pulling a little bit at the half-mile pole, but from, let's say, the 5/8 pole until the 3/8 pole, when you're riding these speed horses, and Flavian, he reminds me of myself when I was younger and able to do this, and he basically got a breather from the half-mile pole to the 3/8 pole when everybody was making ground on him, playing catch-up. He was letting her fill up with oxygen, and she was able to find another gear when she turned into the stretch.
From an Oaks prep to a Derby prep here at the Sam F. Davis at Tampa Bay. We're up to Sole Volante. It's our ABR race of the week. Patrick Biancone trains the 2.
trains the 2 for his daughter, Andy Biancone, who's also his assistant.
Independence Hall, undefeated, 3 wins by a combined 21 lengths.
Yeah, Independence Hall, he was so impressive in his last race, and he's got superstar written all over him if he continues on the way he has been.
No Getting Over Me, trained by Gerald Bennett.
One thing, he gets back to 2 turns, which he has absolutely liked before. He was an emphatic maiden winner by over 9.
Only Florida bred in the field. Here's Premier Star Jorge Navarro, undefeated at 2 7-furlong races.
Yeah, and Premier Star, he may be a thorn in Independence Hall's side early on in the race. He's got a lot of speed.
Huge long shot, son of Tiz Now, trained by Ian Wilkes, Tiz Rye Time.
Yeah, broke the maiden 2 starts back, and then last time out, just never really fired drawing the rail. He gets off of it today, and that could help move him forward.
And Chapelou, he's coming off a win in the Gray Stakes at Woodbine. That was a race that was won by Mind That Bird on his way to the Kentucky Derby.
And what about this combination today? Daniel Centeno and Arnold De La Clore. This horse, first time on the dirt, but he's been working well here at Tampa.
Acting up, though, in the post parade. Look at him.
Look
Getting
at
a
the
little
rodeo.
bronky there.
Yeah, that's behavior that people, I think, were expecting maybe out of Independence Hall when he was getting saddled. But so far, it seemed like he has been a pretty good actor. It's our America's Best Racing Race of the Week. Points on the line to get into the starting gate for the Kentucky Derby, the first Saturday in May, as we look, I should say, at Ajoweed here. And this is Joel Rosario and why he is at Tampa Bay this afternoon for Kieran McLaughlin, who won this race back in 2015.
Yeah, and he's not without a big chance in here. If Independence Hall stubs his toe, he would be my pick. And obviously, Joel sees a lot in him to have given up the filly that you just watched win here at Santa Anita to go back. This is the main reason that he went today.
That was what I was thinking. If you're going to give up Venetian Harbor to go ride another horse, you might as well make sure it's a good one. This horse definitely has a little bit of stamina to go into. He's had 3 consecutive route races, at least in distance. We do have some of them being 1 turn, but I like the way he's been training over at Palm Meadows, that minute and change work coming in. And this horse has run well, relatively fresh. I'd say his next effort would probably be a step forward for him.
I'm taking a look now at Premier Star. He was 1-5 in his last start for Jorge Navarro. He was actually torn between this race, the trainer, and the Risen Star that we're going to bring in next week. There's going to be split divisions of that race.
The only thing that worries me about this horse, and we'll know more after we see this, but it's his first time routing. He might be able to get the mile on the 16th of today's race, but I think as we move forward, the 1.25 miles of the Kentucky Derby, at least on paper, looks like it may be a challenge for him.
You couldn't have gone any easier than he did, though, winning that allowance race. I mean, he won by 5, but it easily could have been 10. I mean, at the end of the race, Irad Ortiz was standing up, gearing him down, much like we saw Flavian doing with Venetian Harbor. Right now, this horse had a ton more in the tank. But, like Gary said, major distance limitations come classic distance time.
Waiting to load. In the saddlecloth of the 4 right there, Independence Hall. Will his star continue to rise? Undefeated. 3 victories by a combined 21 lengths. He's currently 11th on the Kentucky Derby leaderboard with 10 points. It's the Sam F. Davis. Here's Richard Grunder.
And they're off and running. No Getting Over Me missed the break. Independence Hall, the favorite, is away cleanly and going right to the early lead. Up on the outside, Chapelou will move up to force the pace, and from between horses, Premier Star. He wants the lead, and they go to the clubhouse turn, 3 across the track, and now the early trailer is Ajoweed. They sprint around the clubhouse turn, up on the outside. That's Chapelou now going to the lead, and toward the rail is Premier Star. 2.5 lengths farther back, Independence Hall. Ortiz takes him in hand and lets the top 2 go away by 3. Independence Hall, and then it's a big break of about 12. No Getting Over Me after the slow start is a distant 4th. Solo Volante is along the rail 5th. Tiz Right Time on the outside 6th, and Ajoweed, if he wins the Sam Davis, he'll have to do it from 18 lengths off the pace. They leave the half-mile marker. Premier Star has the lead. Chapelou continues to badger on the outside 2nd. 2 lengths farther back, Independence Hall, and Ortiz still has him in stout restraint. Racing along 3rd, and then it's still a long ways back to No Getting Over Me as they approach the quarter-mile pole, and there he goes. Ortiz can wait no longer. Independence Hall goes to the lead and doing it on his own. Sol Volante is now charging 2nd. On the outside, no getting over me, is trying to come back third as they turn for home. Independence Hall trying to remain undefeated. Ortiz goes to work and he still has the lead, but Sol Volante runs at the leader on the outside. We're down to 2. Independence Hall, the whip is out. On the outside, Sol Volante runs by the leader. It's Sol Volante in front and going away. Independence Hall settles for second. Very tight for third. Looks like Ajuid come from absolutely last. Gets up for third. His ride time was fourth. Running time on the board, 1:42.60.
Independence Hall defeated for the very first time in his career to Sole Volante. Patrick Biancone, now 3 for 4. The prior 2 wins had come on turf.
What a great story for this horse, actually. You mentioned Andy Biancone, the daughter and assistant trainer to Patrick, who gets on these horses. She was actually at the sales with Patrick and loved this horse from the get-go. They were able to pick him up for a bargain basement, $20,000. And for her birthday, Patrick gave her half of the horse. So she just loves this horse. I'm sure she's absolutely thrilled right now.
And I don't know if you noticed those silks, but I didn't mention as we were doing the post-parade, those are the silks of Dean and Patty Reeves, thoroughbreds. Mucho Macho Man. They just bought into this horse. So Andy has done all right with their first venture in owning a thoroughbred. I've watched Andy since she was a little girl. Used to write everything for Patrick. Great relationship with him, and watched her grow up from a little girl into his assistant. So congratulations to them. They've got a runner on their hands, and he's on the Derby trail.
This really could have been the tale of the trips, right? Solo Volante was able to do what he wanted to do and then had plenty left in the tank to come down here. But Independence Hall, we saw Ortiz had such a strong hold on him. He looked like he was barely in a gallop down the backside, which you want to say, well, he's got plenty left in the tank. But what that could come to when you're asking him is then that's, I don't want to say it's a fight because he wasn't, you know, against being held back there, but then you just don't have that extra punch that you would have had.
You know, we talk about that, but you also have to take into consideration, I'd said earlier before the race that Premier Star might be a thorn in Independence Hall's side, and also Chapelou was early on. And Jose elected to take him back into third place. I think he was concerned about the pace, and if you look how far back everybody else was early on, the clock might not tell the truth. I didn't see what the fractions were, but they were obviously honest fractions because everybody backed up, and Independence Hall hit a wall at the 16th pole. But you got to give all the credit to Sol Volante and the training job of Patrick Biancone.
This was one of only 2 horses in the field who had won around 2 turns, and he actually had 2 wins around 2 turns. Now he has 3. Sole Volante gets his first win on dirt, and he picks up some Derby qualifying points along the way.
Look, and he got some backing there. He was 8-1 on the morning line. He actually dropped down to 5-1. So he was getting some respect there today. Third favorite.
Ajuid coming on for third. I mean, you heard the call. He was 18 lengths back at one point.
So Sole Volante with the victory in the Sam F. Davis. Meanwhile, back out here on the West Coast on the road to the Kentucky Oaks, Venetian Harbor, she is turning into a monster. Star-making performance. Is the 2 turns not a problem for her at all?
Not a problem at all, and a beautiful-looking filly. She's carrying good weight, and she's got to be one of our early favorites for the Kentucky Oaks after this performance today.
I mean, she was geared down to all but a baby canter there at the end. That was a pretty spectacular job, especially at the finish for a horse that went so fast mid-race.
All right, we got more to unpack with Venetian Harbor in a moment. We're going to send it back out to the Sam F. Davis check-in with Lafitte and the winning connections.
Greg, the string of long shots continues today at Tampa Bay Downs. Sol Volante and the Sam Davis, trained by Patrick Biancone. Patrick, how was he able to pull off the upset this afternoon?
Oh, to be honest, you know, it's young horses, they're developing. Some like to go distance of ground, some don't, and this horse got a lot of stamina, and he's coming along gradually, and we're very happy with him.
When you watched him starting to gather momentum, what was going through your mind?
I know he can finish the last 316 very fast, but he was in good shape, especially they were slowing down in front, and he does the job perfectly.
You've always had high praise for this colt. You compared him to the '84 ARC winner who you trained, and part of the reason he was originally purchased, is that right?
The reason, yeah, Sagas was built like him, and that's why I bought him, and you know, it was my birthday gift to my daughter, and she had a friend as a partner. Now we have the luck to have Mr. Reeves to join the dance, and we are not going to buy the hat, but we're going to look for it.
You're gonna look. How much more special does it make it? Your daughter involved, this being a family affair, and now going towards the Kentucky Derby.
It's beautiful. But it's beautiful each time you have a good horse.
You're on your way, Patrick. Thanks so much. Congratulations. Big upset. Sol Volante able to run down the heavily backed favorite, Independence Hall, in the Sam F. Davis Stakes, guys.
That's what can happen along this road to the Triple Crown, and that's why they run these races. An upset, first ever for Independence Hall, and Sol Volante showing he deserves a shot to get into that starting gate the first Saturday in May. We'll be back.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America's Best Racing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America's Best Racing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Coming on strong.
Minute to stardom. On top, coming down to the final 16th, opening up a 2-length lead.
My love for you.
Wild About Star, shining big here in Berry 1.
Oh, why did I wrong?
Testing, 1, 2. The Star Guitar filly leads Champagne Diva close to home. It's testing, 1, 2.
Feel my love for you. Coming on strong.
We are back on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2, and the action continues out at Oaklawn. The old veteran Whitmore has been to 3 Breeders' Cup sprints. He was 3rd in the most recent edition back at Santa Anita in early November, coming back for his 7-year-old campaign. We go to Hot Springs, Arkansas with Nancy Holthus for more.
Thanks so much, Greg. Well, Whitmore is certainly a horse for the course, having a definite home track advantage, scoring 5 stakes right here at Oaklawn Park. Now, it's a little bit different, as typically Ron does lay him up after the Breeders' Cup Sprint this year, running 3rd to eventual champion sprinter in Matoli. But he decided to take a chance after he was in pure beast mode and tearing down the barn. He decided to go in the Grade 1 Cigar Mile at Aqueduct, which is a 1-turn event, but wound up a 7th place finish. Now, he has placed top runners throughout his career and does return where he has hit the board all 11 starts at the Hot Springs track, earned more than 1.2 of his 2.1 in career earnings. He did get a chance to sit down with Joe Talamo prior to departing for Florida, and they went over his quirks, talked about him loading, make sure the spacing that he has prior to that deep closing running style. So Moquett does feel like he's a dad at 2 ball fields, if you will, with Moquett running, or with Whitmore running here and Chance at his wedding in Florida. Greg?
Nancy, thank you. So 6-5 on Whitmore. He's been doing this for quite some time. You know, it was Mike Smith who actually won on him in the Southwest when he was on the Triple Crown Trail ran in that year's Kentucky Derby, and then he just became a sensational sprinter. Obviously, that's what he does best in here. Can he still be effective as a 7-year-old now in this division?
I think he can, and the thing is that he does love Oaklawn. If you look at his workouts, he's had some tremendous workouts this winter leading up to this race, and he's a horse that he looks more like a quarter horse than he does a thoroughbred, to be honest with you. I mean, just with his size, with his shoulder, his hip, and he's always been a character around the gate, you know, not wanting to load, kicking at the guys a little bit, but Santana, oddly enough, he's second favorite right now and Share the Upside, the one horse for Steve Asmussen. But he used to be the partner of Whitmore for, you know, 7 or 8, 9 of his races throughout his career. And here we find him on Share the Upside, a 5-year-old. But, yeah, I think that Whitmore, you know, age is only a number.
I think, too, when you have a horse like this that's so quirky and needs things his own way, which Ron Marquette actually was my first employer when I worked on the backside. So working for Ron, I know that if there's a horse that needs something special, Ron makes sure that horse has it. You know, some trainers try and fix a horse, right? Oh, you're not supposed to do this. Let's get you to do it the right way. And Ron is a lot more lenient. He lets the toddler eat, you know, candy out of the candy jar. But that works in his barn. So I think in that instance, with this horse being so quirky, if you find a rider that suits him, you just keep him on as long as possible. And one of the, I don't want to say a drawback, but one of the things that happens when you have a horse that's getting to be up there in the years and he's 7 or 8 years old is there's been instances that another rider has had to come in because there's something else for you to ride. And if that rider clicks, then you keep that rider on. You don't keep making changes with horses that are super quirky.
Meanwhile, you have a horse on the inside who faced Whitmore and Whitmore's starting point last year in Share the Upside. He was pretty highly regarded, coming in off back-to-back wins. He's got the inside now in a race that does not have a ton of pace. Is he dangerous in here because of that?
Definitely so. I think he would, you know, obviously is the main danger to Whitmore, you know, coming back off this layoff for Steve Asmussen.
This horse has run really well fresh, too.
And you see Whitmore acting up a little bit, backs away from the gate as he's done many times in his career, now kicking out those back hind legs.
Instant
Look out.
replay, instant replay. He's never off form at the starting gate.
I never envy the assistant starters, but definitely not when you have a horse that's double barreling towards your face.
Well, luckily, around the country, they all know that most of the tendencies of these horses, and it's well known that this is the MO for Whitmore, so no one within striking range.
Greg, what about the 3 Silver Ride? Another 8-year-old in here. Diodoro actually picked this one up off a $62,000 claim at Churchill in summer of last year. Since then, he's gone on to win the Bienvenidos over at Turf Paradise, and he won a nice allowance race last time out here at Oaklawn. It was in the mud, but I think he's super interesting.
He's grade 1 placed in the Vosburg back in 2018. He has talent. It's the King Cotton. Whitmore back for his 7-year-old season.
Share the Upside and Silver Ride break well. Nonetheless, is dropping out to last just in front of Whitmore. So Share the Upside will lead up the backstretch from Home Run Maker in second. Tringali is third with Silver Ride at the rail in fourth. Whitmore is in and amongst horses. He's in some traffic going into the far turn. Outside of him are both Wilbo and Nonetheless, and Whitmore's going to try to squeeze through a very tight spot, and he got through for Joe Talamo. Here is Whitmore all the way up to second. So they round the far turn, and the King Cotton and Share the Upside is the leader from 5 across the track in second, headed up by Whitmore at the rail, and Nonetheless in the center of the racetrack. Then Tringali, who backs out. Silver Ride is last, and he's 4 from the front. Top of the stretch, Share the Upside has the lead. Whitmore's off the rail in second. To the outside and Nonetheless. Silver Ride up into 4th now, but he's still 4 lengths behind Share the Upside, who is still in front. Whitmore is coming after him now in second. He's got a 1.5 lengths to make up. Can he get there? Share the Upside reaches. Whitmore attacks. Share the Upside. Whitmore, Share the Upside. The 69th King Cotton goes to Share the Upside. Whitmore was second. Silver Ride third. Nonetheless, finished 4th.
Well, Share the Upside couldn't get Whitmore in last year's Hot Springs. This time he turns the tables in the King Cotton.
Yeah, and Share the Upside, he's going to get better with age, I believe. Steve Asmussen, he keeps these horses around for a long time. That was only his 13th start of his career, being a 5-year-old. That's very lightly raced, and he just stamped himself as one of the better sprinters this spring that we've seen, or this winter that we've seen.
All of a sudden, the Iowa Sprint Handicap looks really good because the winner, DeRapper, was a winner earlier on the card here at Oaklawn as well.
So share the upside with the win, holding off the late charging Whitmore, but the 7-year-old in his comeback race for 2020 comes up a little bit short. 1-4, looks like the 3 for third. We'll make that official for you in a moment. We were talking earlier about Venetian Harbor, what an impressive performance this was from this 3-year-old filly, and some of the greats who've won the Las Virgenes in the past. Bella Fina, Unique Bella, Songbird, Rags to Riches, Beholder. It's a long list. Let's check in with Millie Ball.
Here with Richard Baltus. Venetian Harbor just won the Las Virgenes. Richie, I saw you coming down here. You had your chest pumped up. What were you feeling?
Oh, you know, it feels really good, obviously. You always have doubts, you know, when a horse has never run 2 turns, and, you know, when these young fillies, 3 years old like this, there's so much ahead of them, and, you know, you got the pressure from the owners, and everybody wants the horse to win. So, you know, I was thinking that it wasn't a cakewalk because it was her first time around 2 turns. The track was deep. She's been training at San Luis Rey. But, you know, Flavian let her break, and she broke great, and he got her to relax as much as she could, I think. And, you know, they looked like they were coming to her at the quarter pole, but then she just kicked away, which was a great sign, and looked like she was geared down at the end. So, yeah, you know, you get a little excited when things like that happen.
You get very excited because she just wrote her ticket onto the Santa Anita Oaks, and fingers crossed, the Kentucky Oaks. Congratulations, Richard.
Thank you, Millie. Appreciate it.
Richard Baltus wins with Venetian Harbor.
It's a big-time performance, and she obviously is on her way to becoming a superstar in this division, in this 3-year-old filly division. Now she's undefeated on dirt. She's shown she can handle 2 turns. What does she have to prove next?
I think she's just got to keep doing what she just showed us right there. She's obviously got a great mind. I love what I saw, as I said, when she turned into the backside, threw her ears straight up like this, and she listened to Flavian Pratt. He was able to put her asleep to the 3/8 pole, and as the other horses were playing catch-up, she found another gear. It reminded me a lot of Winning Colors, to be honest with you. Different color, but same thing, but with a little different temperament than what she had.
That kind of ability?
Yep.
Wow.
Just saying.
That's saying a lot.
Next, she'll have to handle pressure, right?
So,
yes.
Can we see her
That's
against the
next.
boys, maybe, if she keeps progressing like this?
I'm not making any. No predictions with Richard Baltus.
We're going to take a break. We'll be back. More ahead.
Flatter. This prolific son of A.P. Indy has sired 6 millionaires, including Eclipse champion West Coast. He's adding even more stakes winners to his outstanding record, including Sovereign Award winner Avies Flatter. His yearlings have topped the Fasig-Tipton July sale 2 years in a row and sold up to $900,000 at Keeneland September. Success on the track, success in the ring. Flatter, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Go from Railbird to Winner's Circle. With My Racehorse, you have access to top horses and trainers, backside tours, exclusive ownership experiences, and fast payouts to your online account. With shares starting as little as $100, the Winner's Circle is waiting for you. Go to myracehorse.com or download the My Racehorse app today to join the thousands who have already started their journey as a racehorse owner.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code Big A at NairaBets.com.
Back on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. And share the upside. Getting the win over Whitmore. And Ricardo Santana Jr., Steve Asmussen, this 5-year-old, now 4 for 5 at Oaklawn.
Loves the track, and that's a funny track. I was telling Michelle earlier that track loves water. When it dries out too much, it gets a little cuppy, meaning the horses can't get good traction on it, gets loose. Perfect conditions today, but that horse loves Oaklawn Park.
He loves to come off the layoff, too. This horse runs extremely well fresh.
And that is not easy to do, to hold off a hard-charging Whitmore down the lane, so credit to the connections. Well done with Share the Upside. We could be hearing a lot more from him in the sprint division this year. As we get back to Santa Anita and the 6th race coming up, 7 furlongs in the starter optional claiming group as we take a look at the 6 in here. And that is Trouville for Leonard Powell. Second beat a length last time out. This will be the 4th try trying to get that maiden breaker.
I'm going to try it a different way. How about Trouville?
I like that.
Trouville is a small village right across the river from Deauville.
Okay.
In France. And Leonard Powell, the trainer, part owner of this horse. So I'm going with Trouville instead of Trouville.
I'm going to trust you on this.
Either way, she's a maiden against winners.
But she's getting a score 6-1 on the board.
Listen, he's not a chicken, he's an eagle. He used to work for Patrick Bean
That's
and Cone.
right.
Leonard Powell did. So who cares if I'm running a maiden against a claimer?
I like it.
I mean, against winners.
Well, with the exception of the 4, really everyone's being given a look, it seems like, in this race. Is it that wide open, did you feel?
Looking at the race, it is, because what we have here is when you have a bunch of horses that have broken their maiden for claiming tags, we don't have any straight 3-year-old claiming races, and the majority of our races are for 4-year-olds and up. So these fillies all kind of have to go in here. Take Billy Kay, for example. 2 starts back, she got crushed by males because there was not an option for her to run against fillies that were winners, that it wasn't a super tough race. The 7 furlongs is going to be a tricky distance too, so you'll have horses like Billy Kay, like Sabino's Pride, like French Rose that have the mile under the belt, and that should be beneficial.
Michelle, full disclosure, who trains Billy Kay?
My husband trains Billy Kay, and we do own a part of this filly, who ran a really good second last time out. I expect, even though there's a lot of speed, to see Fuentes, if this filly breaks on top, to send her out of there and try and get that advantage. She doesn't have a huge kick. She's relatively one-paced, and that's going to be her best bet to try and convert that into a win.
You were going to let that slip under the radar, weren't you?
No, not at all.
I'd have thrown a flag on the play.
French Rose, 9-5 favorite. As the last loads, Christie's Tiger here for the Thomas Bell Barn with Brice Blanc. We send it up to Frank Miramati with the call. Race 6, Santa Anita here on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2.
Going in. They're in the gate. And they're off. Bluegrass Sky bobbled. Did recover immediately and will battle for the lead with Christie's Tiger. Trouville is in between those two. French Rose is also up close in the opening furlong. Billy Kay down at the rail. Then it's Sabino's Pride and Clean Karma. No more than 3 lengths covers this entire group as they get to the main track. It's Bluegrass Sky. At the rail comes Billy Kay. Center of the track, Trouville in the yellow colors. 1 from the rail is French Rose and Christie's Tiger. Those 5 separated by less than a neck. Then Sabino's Pride on the inside is a little bit eager, nowhere to go at this juncture, and Clean Karma has just gone by her. Around the turn, they start to separate. It is French Rose now putting her neck in front. Trouville. Bluegrass Sky is now losing just a touch of ground. Christie's Tiger is next. Clean Karma will have to go 4 wide, but only a length and a half off the lead. Then Billy Kay, who's dropping back, and Sabino's Pride switches to the far outside, top of the stretch, and it's French Rose trying to shake loose. Trouville a length and a half back second. Christie's Tiger, Clean Karma, and Sabino's Pride. 16th pole, French Rose by 2 lengths, holding firm. Christie's Tiger on the outsides trying to get to her in the final stages. French Rose holding firm, and it will be French Rose back-to-back for Flavia and Pratt. Second goes to Christie's Tiger, then Trouville, followed by Clean Karma and Sabino's Pride.
Yeah, Pratt goes back-to-back here. French Rose, the favorite for Keith DeSormo with the win here in the 6th.
And impressive, another winner for Flavien Prat. Back-to-back wins for him, and comes away a nice winner. They were ganged up down the backside. I mean, 6 horses lined up going into that far turn, and something had to give, but French Rose able to save ground.
And a little bit harder that Flavien had to work on this horse than on Venetian Harbor,
yeah,
for sure.
For sure.
So French Rose with the win, 8-5 in the end here in the 6th at Santa Anita, and Flavien Prat having a nice afternoon here at Santa Anita. We're going to take a break in the action. When we come back, we'll talk the state of the 3-year-old division. 1,000 words made it 3,000 for Bob Baffert and Max Player. Could the Withers winner bring Linda Rice her first ever Kentucky Derby starter? We'll talk about all of that when we come back on America's Day at the Races here on Fox Sports 2.
Smiling Tigers Championship sire performance continues. Each of his first 3 crops has produced a Horse of the Year, including California Horse of the Year Spiced Perfection and 2019 champion 2-year-old male El Tigre Terrible. 14 six-figure earners, including 7 with single-season earnings surpassing $100,000 in 2019. California's #1 second crop sire in 2018 and now #1 third crop sire of 2019. Smiling Tiger, standing at Harris Farms. Visit SmilingTigerStallion.com for more information. It pays to be Cal-bred.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Horses is Kitten Finest taken back. And a quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 on top. As they roll into the backstretch.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Our program brought to you in part by the champion sprinter, Run Happy. Raced his entire career medication-free and never lost while sprinting. Now standing in that legendary stall #1 at Claiborne Farm. What a sensational runner. One of his top performances came on racing's biggest stage in the Breeders' Cup Sprint, and somehow went off, I want to say 11-1 in the King's Bishop at Saratoga. Fans eventually learned about it.
Yes,
How
they
good
did.
He was. Back at Santa Anita, it's French Rose picks up the 2nd win of her career for Keith DeSormo, and Flavien Prat back-to-back wins.
So daughter here of Raisin de Tat, and did a lot of the heavy lifting early on and was able to hold everybody off. Had plenty of races under the belt, though, from a stamina standpoint, to be able to handle this testing 7 furlongs distance.
Meanwhile, back at Oaklawn, trainer Steve Asmussen won last year's Breeders' Cup Sprint with Matoli, and now just beat a horse who chased Matoli in the sprint, Whitmore, with Share the Upside. Let's go to Nancy Holthus, standing by.
How
How impressive was his performance in your opinion?
Very good. You know, share the upsides. Always loved it here at Oaklawn. Runs some very good races, and for him to now be a stakes winner here, I think is very fitting. When he drew the one hole, it was very important for him to get away from there cleanly. Ricardo did a really good job with him, and he's obviously a fast horse.
Well, I'm hoping we might see a return of his appearance in the Hot Springs, and it looks like he's got a lot of potential, maybe some grade 3 status in the Count Fleet.
Well, obviously, you know, with Matoli gone to the breeding shed, it's his turn to step up, and the sprint series here at Oaklawn is excellent, and he's here for it.
Steve Asmussen, a very familiar presence in the Oaklawn winner's circle.
Hall of Famer, familiar presence at basically every track he competes at in the winner's circle. He has won a lot of races over the course of his career. Cross country, pick 5, follow along. Whoa! $22,269 payout. Admiralty Pier helping that returning $44.
You thought it started off really easy, right? When you had Montauk traffic and you thought, oh, this is going to be in the bag, and then we just had price after price after price.
We have a mandatory payout, another great way to play. That's the Empire 6 coming up Sunday at Aqueduct. Mandatory payout, $363,000 already in the pool, so you definitely got to think about playing that Empire 6 at Aqueduct on Sunday afternoon. Good luck to everybody going after it. We're going to take a break in the action. More to come. Stay with us. 3-year-old picture. And Tiz the Law, one of the leading contenders on the road to the Kentucky Derby. Who's his top competition? We'll find out when we come back.
Grade 1 winner and track record setter Lee. Like their sire, his first crop runners have excelled on both dirt and turf, including stakes winner and graded stakes performer Muskoka Gold and 2-year-old stakes winning filly Vast. With juveniles selling over $400,000 and yearlings bringing up to $650,000, the sky is the limit for this promising young stallion. Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match with promo code Big A at NairaBets.com.
Back on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. We are live at Oaklawn, 2 minutes to post. In their 9th race on the card, it's a maiden special weight at 3/4 of a mile. The current favorite is down on the inside. It's going to be Sunnydale, who ships in from Southern California. And Sunnydale, this will be opportunity number 8 to try and get that maiden breaker.
Yeah, and, you know, knocking on the door when they've had 8 opportunities, and he's still going for the maiden special with this horse. And Jerry Hollendorfer looking for his first win here of the meet. Martin Garcia, of course, went to Kentucky late last year, and now at Oaklawn Park. And he's actually got my old agent is hustling his book there, Jay Fedor. Great guy, and Marty's having a decent meet so far starting off.
One thing that works in Sunnydale's favor is the fact that she has experience, whether it's taken her 7 or 8 tries out here to maybe break her maiden, but the next couple of horses out are all first-time starters, so she's definitely going to have a fitness edge as well as an experience edge. So even though she draws the rail, which is not an ideal place to be, according to a lot of trainers, they don't like to be drawn along the fence there, at least she's been in the gates before in a race day scenario, and that can really be an undoing for horses that are first-time starters.
I'll tell you one reason that they hate being in the inside, especially the one hole. Look at that shot right there that we're looking at. That starting gate, there's virtually 10-yard run up to where the gap is, where they cross that gap. And a lot of horses tend to want to duck in there, or they're intimidated. And those riders at Oaklawn, they ride extremely tight. And it looks like some of the races when there's a 14-horse field going 6 furlongs, it looks like the Kentucky Derby with the 20-horse cavalry, but there's 14 horses, and it looks like a giant wave, a tsunami coming over at you when you're down on the inside and somebody's got you outrun by a half length and they're stacked up and you get squeezed out of there. Not a lot of fun, but this filly, she's been drawn down on the inside in the past, towards the inside. She's only drawn the extreme outside, well, drawn 9 of 10, her first out of her life at Gulfstream Park on the turf, where you don't want to be on the outside going 2 turns. So she hasn't been real lucky with the draws. I'd like to see what she could do if she ever drew, like in here, a 9-horse field. If she was to draw the 9 hole, I would love her today, but I don't like the 1 hole there.
There she is. She used to be with John Service. He was actually trying her longer on the turf. Now they've been trying to break her maiden, Jerry Hollendorfer, sprinting on dirt, beat at even money last start here in Southern California, beat at 1-5 at Del Mar the start before that.
Well, you can see why they wanted to put her on the grass from a pedigree standpoint. She's by Medaglia d'Oro, and he kind of throws runners on every surface. But you have Danehill Dancer as a dam sire, and that is pretty much strictly grass from that influence. You don't see a lot of them being able to convert successfully onto the main track. But the cutback in distance has always been a little questioning to me. It looked like it was going to work the first time he cut her back from a mile and sprinted her at Del Mar, and she hit the front, and you thought, oh, this is what she wants to do, and then settled for second. I still feel like because of the way she ran at that 6.5, that maybe a 7 furlong distance would really hit her square between the eyes. You know, doesn't have enough speed necessarily to be an upfront sprinter going 6, and you know, doesn't really want to stay around for the mile. So that kind of in-between distance could really work out well for her if she gets that opportunity ever.
And she ran almost too good to lose in the summer at Del Mar. She had a 90 buyer in a 3/4 length defeat when she had a 2.5 length lead in the stretch. But we'll see if the 8th time is the charm for Sunnydale. Some intriguing firsters. The 5 Golden Command, the 6 Prairie Dress for Steve Asmussen, Shackelford filly making her debut. It is the 9th from Oaklawn. We send it out to Vic Stauffer for the call here on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2.
They're at the post. They're off. Dixie Nation went straight in the air at the start, desperately last. Lip Says Bye broke well from a Golden Command and at the rail. Moving up, Sunnydale, these 3 are fastest, and now Prairie Dress going to join the party, and here's Prairie Dress all the way up to take over the front. Then comes Exchange West, followed by Island Sky and Addie. Then Miss Marcia Lynn, and the bad start has Dixie Nation at the back of the pack. Prairie Dress into the far turn with a 2-length lead over Golden Command. Blip Says Bye between horses, and Island Sky now 3 deep, and now Prairie Dress only leads by a half length. There goes Island Sky and Sunnydale, and Sunnydale is going to go all the way up and take over the front now. Sunnydale, the new leader at the top of the stretch, from Exchange West in second. Blip Says Bye is back in third, then to the outside in Golden Command, but Sunnydale made that big run around the far turn and lands 4 lengths in front of Exchange West in second. Island Sky just took third, but this is a good looking filly. Sunnydale is 5 lengths in front of Exchange West in second. Island Sky is third. Miss Marcia Lynn might get 4th. Sunnydale in front. Sunnydale won by 5. Exchange West was second. Island Sky third. Miss Marcia Lynn 4th.
So 8th time is the charm for Sunnydale, and getting out of Southern California probably didn't hurt either going to Oaklawn.
Yeah, she looked like she enjoyed it though, and you know what? This filly, the 6th filly that was in front early on, keep your eye on her next time for Steve Asmussen. That was her first out, tired a little bit, but this filly, this is the kind of race we saw her run at Del Mar last year when she was second. Maybe she'll get on a win streak now.
And again, the experience edge really has it. Look how much fitter she is than a lot of these first-time starters that are just kind of flailing around behind her.
Sunnydale breaks through, gets that win, 4-year-old filly by Medaglia d'Oro, and she does it convincingly in the 9th at Oaklawn. We'll be back and talk 3-year-olds on on the road to the Derby when we come back.
Run Happy is simply super. He polishes off an outstanding campaign with a dominant victory in the Malibu.
No medication, no problem. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Smiling Tiger's Championship Sire performance continues. Each of his first 3 crops has produced a Horse of the Year, including California Horse of the Year Spiced Perfection and 2019 champion 2-year-old male El Tigre Terrible. 14 6-figure earners, including 7 with single-season earnings surpassing $100,000 in 2019. California's #1 second crop sire in 2018 and now #1 third crop sire of 2019. Smiling Tiger, standing at Harris Farms. Visit SmilingTigerStallion.com for more information. It pays to be Cal-bred.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
On the outside, no getting over me, is trying to come back third as they turn for home. Independence Hall trying to remain undefeated. Ortiz goes to work and he still has the lead, but Sol Volante runs at the leader on the outside. We're down to 2. Independence Hall, the whip is out. On the outside, Sol Volante runs by the leader. It's Sol Volante in front and going away. Independence Hall settles for second. Very tight for third. Looks like Ajui come from absolutely last.
Defeat of his career, Sol Volante, now a 3-time winner around 2 turns, and that was the first win on dirt and a new player in the Derby field.
I think a new big player. How far he wants to go, it looked like to me he was just finding his best stride late. He's got the right kind of running style. He can lay close. He can come from behind like he did today and sustain that run. We've definitely got a new shooter in the top part.
And Patrick Biancone knows how to get a horse ready for a really big race and a really big effort. He's won some of the biggest races in the world. And
a very nice horse that he beat. Independence Hall, you're not ready to give up on him just yet?
No, but I'm disappointed in him today. I didn't really think he had an excuse. You know, he's got some behavioral problems, but he was good today in the paddock and stuff, and I'm disappointed. I really can't give him an excuse for how he performed today.
I still give him the excuse of, you know, he was in gallop position down the backside.
Yeah.
I think that takes a lot out of a horse when you don't just let them run and do their job. So I would give him a pass because of that.
Still picked up 4 more points on the road to the Kentucky Derby. He's got 14 points now, Independence Hall. We'll see if he continues along and can get back on track on the road to the Kentucky Derby. In both the Champagne and the Holy Bowl, the field fought the law and the law won. 'Tis the Law has come back. Just like he looked in the Champagne in that Grade 1 victory, he looked impressive winning his 3-year-old debut.
Look, to me, right now at this stage of the game with what he did in this race, taking back right there, we talked about it earlier in the show for the viewers that weren't watching then, but this was extraordinary what he did right here, jump back in the bridle after being taken a hold up, drop back, not discouraged. I think he's the leader of the pack in my mind, Michelle.
You can even see just when you know, he got eased to the outside there and the reins got loosened, he scampered right back into stride instantly. You don't see horses with that kind of push-button acceleration, especially this early in their career. I mean, they really thought a lot of this horse as a 2-year-old, and he has developed even further. That's what you want to see as a horse that's progressing, because there's a big difference between a horse that was just precocious and able to win something as a 2-year-old and a horse that's really just starting to become as talented as he's going to end up. And the way he draws away at the end as well, I know he's got some greenness issues to get over, but overall he shows every tool that you need to win a big race that can be kind of muddied like the Derby.
Yeah, you know, I said earlier that I didn't like that necessarily when your hands are tied, when a trainer tells you no matter what, you've got to get to the outside. I've seen this horse in traffic before, and it doesn't bother him. He's going to be in traffic when the big day comes. That's a long ways away still, but it's coming on as quick the first Saturday in May. But he's going to be in traffic. I don't care what you say with that running style, and he can take it. I just hope that Junior Alvarado is given the confidence by his trainer to allow him to ride him how he needs to ride him in the Kentucky Derby. Because if you're told in the Kentucky Derby, get him to the outside no matter what, if you draw the one hole and you've got to go around 16 or 17 other horses, it ties your hands, and you're not going to win a Derby that way.
Meanwhile, could Linda Rice get to the Kentucky Derby this year? Max Player for her, impressive in the Withers. Keep in mind, too, this is a 1 1/8 Withers, so he's already passed that little extra hurdle of distance in just the 3rd start of his career. He does have some greenness issues, though, to try and overcome.
Yeah, he does, but, you know, he was put in, Dylan Davis put him under a drive 3 furlongs out, and even re-watching the replay this morning, going over this race again, still watching, I said, he's never going to get up. This horse is, and finally, inside the 16th pole, I don't know if this is the other horses just wilting right now, laboring, or him taking off, but I love the way that he finished here. I completely agree, and I know that Linda Rice was thrilled with the 9 furlong and the 1 1/8 distance, and she wants to continue that, so we'll be seeing him in the Wood next. They're not going to cut back and go to the next prep. They're going to skip that and go right to the Grade 1 Wood Memorial because they want to keep him going farther. He does look like the horse that needs that extra distance, and part of it is because the way he runs, like you said, Gary, it takes a long time for him to get into high gear. Once he gets there, he can continue on, but you can't cut back a horse that takes that long to get going.
Here's Linda Rice on
I had
Max
a good feeling going into the race. I really thought that he was going to relish the distance, the 1 1/8, and but you know, it's a big step up from a maiden win to Grade 3. So we were very pleased with his effort. We're pointing towards the Wood Memorial right now, so we have quite a bit of time between races. It was nice to have the 200th win, stakes win, be in the Withers, and I hope we can get to the Wood Memorial in good shape. All of a sudden, we went from a maiden win to being on the Derby trail. That's pretty exciting. So if it comes to fruition, that'd be great.
So April 4th, 100 points to the winner. That is the Wood Memorial, and that's next for Max Player. 1,000 words. You know Bal Baffert's going to be part of the road to the Kentucky Derby. This horse undefeated, 3 for 3 coming off a victory in the Robert B. Lewis. This horse gave him number 3,000 in his career as a trainer.
I love this race. Flavien Prat, it's a short field, but he test drove him, man. He took him back. Got dirt in his face, and the kickback here at Santa Anita, trust me, it's not a lot of fun. I love that he splits horses right here. Look at this. You don't see too many young horses that are split. That was narrow right there, kind of barged his way through there. You got to remember, Bob doesn't have them at their best right now. They're going to save a lot of horse for the big dance this first Saturday in May. He'll improve.
He's very reminiscent to me of Game Winner, too. Does just enough to get that win, but you know he's got plenty in the tank to go.
Baffert loaded once again. Not only does he have 1,000 words, course 8 rings, Nadal, authentic. We'll see who steps forward for him going forward, but that was 1,000 words. He said he is a fighter. We will see you next Saturday, 6 Eastern time on Fox Sports 2.